105.3 DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. It's time to get up and get your day started. It's Sports 56 mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome in. Time for another edition of Sports 56 Mornings on this cold Tuesday morning. 26 degrees right now. It will only get up to about 41 today. That is it. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you on this Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. Broadcasting live and in color from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. The Ultimate Game Room and Fall Sale going on right now. Great deals for Christmas. Great deals for any time, to be honest with you. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Go by, see the folks at Family Leisure. Say hello. Tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings. On the program today, Connor O'Gara will join us at 7:25 to talk all things college football. Tonight, the College Football Playoff Committee will release its latest rankings. These will be the end of the regular season rankings, but not the ones that will ultimately decide the playoff teams. That will be next week after the conference championship games, but most believe that for the most part, the spots are sewn up with the exception of maybe one, and that will more than likely depend on what Clemson does in the ACC championship, but we'll talk all things college football with Connor O'Gara. Got a lot of movement on the college coaching front. Some decisions have already been made for hires, and other moves are being made just to let go coaches and see where they go from there. Of course, you got signing day coming up tomorrow, National Signing Day, so it all comes together as far as the calendar is concerned. Very busy time in the college football world. We will talk college basketball. Memphis Tigers back in action tomorrow night after their successful trip out to the Hawaiian Islands, where they won 2 of 3 in the Maui Invitational. Nolan Smith, Tigers assistant coach, the former All-American and national champion at Duke, he will join us in studio at 8:05. The Tigers back in action tomorrow night when they host Louisiana Tech. At 9:05, we'll talk some high school football. We'll talk with the head coach of Mace, and that is Cedric Miller, the former Memphis Tigers, one of the most productive high school football coaches we've had in a long, long time. He's done it at several different stops, and he's doing it with Mace. They'll get ready for their championship game this weekend. They'll take on South Pittsburgh in the 1A championship game in Chattanooga. That'll be at 2 o'clock on Friday. We'll talk with Ced at 9:05. We've got Humdinger's Trivia. That'll come your way at 8:25. Usually it's at 8:05. We'll push it back with Nolan Smith in studio. That'll be at 8:00, or make that 8:25. Grizzlies in action tonight. They take a 6-game winning streak into play against the Dallas Mavericks. We got a lot of awards that were handed out yesterday for Memphis Tigers football and basketball players for the first time ever. The Memphis Tigers men's basketball team and football team nationally ranked at the same time. And we'll take a look back at the Monday night game, a wild affair between the Broncos and the Browns. We'll take your calls on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. Obviously, your texts as well. That's your lineup for this busy Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Boy, you had a doozy last night at the Landers Center as the hustle played and Cam Spencer went crazy.
Yeah, it was quite a night. He was on one last night. It was
I would say so.
Absolutely amazing. Just everything that he threw up was going in, and it didn't matter how deep it was. He was pulling up from long range. There were shots. There was a couple times he actually thought he had drawn a foul and just threw a shot up, and they were going in. It was fun. It was great as he just kept going and going because they needed all of them because Birmingham, Jalen Crutcher, the local product, Isaiah Brockington, they were going off. And so the hustle could never pull away. And so they kept needing buckets, and Cam Spencer kept giving him buckets. Just an absolutely amazing performance as he goes for 51 last night, 12 of 15 from three-point range, 18 of 24 overall from the field. And it was funny because early on in the game, like he was the only one that could make shots for the Hustle. Like everybody else was struggling. And it was kind of like, well, maybe Cam Spencer can just do this all by himself tonight and win the game by himself. Kind of jokingly, we were talking about that. No, he pretty much did. He did it pretty much by himself. Almost half of the Grizzlies or the Hustle points as they finished with 109, and he had 51 of them. It was a fun performance to watch.
He threw in 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Yuki, the beneficiary of those made Cam Spencer buckets, he had 11 assists. But as you said, he goes for 51. I think that was one off the G League record, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
No. Tyler Harvey had 58 for the Hustle in 2019, 18.
Oh, wow.
Like that.
58 for the Hustle.
Yeah.
What's the G League record? I thought I read where it said it was 52, but obviously that's
I don't
not
know.
right.
I'm not sure if that 58 is the G League record or not. I mean, the G League with their record keeping is a little iffy at times. So I don't know what that is. But yeah, Tyler Harvey had 13 threes in that game, which is that's the G League record. The 13 threes is a record. He was one off the 3-point record. But for points, I'm not sure. I know this was the second 50-point performance for the Hustle, with Harvey having the other one. He had 58. Now that happened on the road. This is the first time that anybody has scored 50 for the Hustle at home.
Well, you know how exciting it is to go watch the Grizzlies when John Morant's in that lineup. Well, it's now fun to go watch the Hustle as well, to go watch Yuki, to go watch Cam Spencer do his thing, Armando Bacot part of that team. So certainly it's worth the drive wherever you are down to the Landers Center to watch the Hustle. When's their next home game?
January 15th.
Oh, you got a ways to wait. You got a while there, so not until January.
The last 4 of the tip-off tournament are on the road, and then they've got the Winter Showcase, and then they start the regular season on the road. Yeah, it's a little oddity of the schedule this year that, yeah, it's a month and a half until their next home game. And then we got a bunch of home games that come and rapid fire in January, February, and March.
Who knows? By then, Cam Spencer could be the starting shooting guard for the Grizzlies. You never know what's going on, so good for him. 51 points. That was absolutely tremendous. The Grizzlies, speaking of the Grizzlies, they take their 14-7 mark on the road tonight in Dallas to take on the Mavericks. The Grizzlies riding a 6-game winning streak. Then they're back home on Thursday to take on the Sacramento Kings. I have not seen the injury report for the Mavs. I know that Kyrie Irving missed the last game. Luka Doncic returned last game. They lost. He had 37, though. Just trying to figure out if both those guys will be playing. Certainly a challenge with Dallas when they're at full strength.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what their situation is as far as the injuries are concerned, but all the Grizzlies have to do tonight in order to advance in the Emirates NBA Cup. First, they've got to win by at least 24.
Okay.
So that seems very reasonable to go on the road and beat Dallas by 24 or more.
It's not like Dallas went to the NBA Finals last year.
Then they just need Oklahoma City to lose, Portland to lose, Denver to lose, and then they have to lose by a certain amount so that the Grizzlies can pass them in point differential, and then the Grizzlies advance.
So
and they're
you're
ready to go.
saying there's a chance.
It seems likely at this point. I don't know why you would say anything other than it seems likely that the Grizzlies will advance.
Last night, or yesterday afternoon, whenever it came out, actually came out a couple of hours after we wrapped up the show. It all blends in after a while, but we talked yesterday that the Memphis Tigers basketball team will undoubtedly be ranked this week after their showing in Maui. It's just, where will they be ranked? And my guess was pretty much in the middle, somewhere in the teens. That's exactly where they were ranked. They were ranked number 16 in the AP poll and number 15 in the coaches poll. And with the Memphis football team ranked both in the AP poll at number 25 and number 24 in the coaches poll, history made. First time ever, which is shocking that those teams were ranked or are ranked at the same time. Is that true?
I don't believe that's true.
See, I didn't believe it either, but that's what people are saying. But I don't know how far you got to go back.
Yeah,
Is it top 20 maybe? Is it some, because that's what they're making a big deal about with the two teams ranked now. But the basketball team jumping from outside the poll, getting votes, to right there firmly in the poll, like I said, at 16 in the AP and 15 at the coaches poll. You have The AP Top 25 released yesterday with Kansas. We were wondering if it will be Kansas or Auburn. It is Kansas at 1, Auburn 2, Tennessee at number 3. Rick Barnes has that team going well again. Kentucky, new coach. Good results so far. They're number 4. Then Marquette at number 5, of course, led by Cam Jones, the Memphian. Iowa State 6th, Gonzaga 7th, Purdue 8th. And that's pretty good showing for Purdue after losing a guy named Zach Edey. Duke is number 9, and then Alabama comes in at number 10. Wisconsin, Oregon, Florida, with their situation with Coach Todd Golden, they're still winning games. Cincinnati, 14, then Baylor at number 15. Then you have the Tigers there at number 16, ahead of Houston at number 17. Then Pitt, Illinois, and North Carolina round out your top 20. 21 through 25, you got Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Ole Miss sitting there at 23. San Diego State, and then UConn all the way down at number 25, losing all 3 games in Maui. If you extend the poll beyond 25 with votes, Arkansas and John Calipari in his first year as the Razorbacks head coach, they would be in at number 27. Mississippi State, which will be on the Memphis Tigers schedule later this month, at number 42.
Yeah, 2019, they were both ranked at the same time. So I don't know where people are getting that, but 2019 they were both ranked. The entire month of November, they were ranked at the same time through December. Like that. 2019 they were ranked for a long time, both at the same time. Many weeks in a row they were both ranked.
Yeah, I'm not crazy, am I? I mean, that's what people were talking about yesterday. It was all over social media, and I'm thinking to myself,
I did not see that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself that it's happened before. I couldn't pinpoint when, but still, nevertheless, good times right now. Good times right now for the University of Memphis with the basketball team, the men's team playing the way they are, and the football team, obviously. While they're still, I guess we got to every time say something about Memphis football, you got to say, it's disappointment that they didn't make the conference championship game, and there's truth to that. But still, 10 wins, and now they get ready for their bowl assignment. I have some guesses. I was hoping, and I know there's still some national prognosticators that think Fenway's going to happen. I don't believe that that's going to happen now. I think it'll be somewhere south, warm. I think it will be in Florida. There's options there. You got Boca. You got Tampa. You have Orlando with the Cure Bowl. So I think that's probably going to end up coming from that grouping down in Florida. But, again, that's a guess on my part.
In December of 2019, they were both ranked in the top 15.
What year was that?
2019.
Yeah, so not that long
Way
ago.
back when.
Way back when, 5 years ago.
That was pre-COVID. The whole world was a different place. They were both, the basketball team was ranked 15th and the football team was ranked 14th or 13th. So, yeah, I'm not sure what people were referring to, but yeah, it definitely happened in 2019 for many weeks in a row.
Yeah, but still, last night, Penny Hardaway at the coach's show talked about this team and talked about himself and just the different mindset going into the season and where they are right now. He had some interesting things to say. Remember, it was quite the off season, starting after the regular season wrapped up, the disappointment, finishing 7th in the conference, unheard of, and then you didn't hear from Penny for a while. The coaches were not in the offices. They were out, and nobody knew what was going on, and then some coaching changes were made, and others were rumored. And then Penny did that one interview that he did, the only interview that he did, and kind of unleashed on the media. And since then, it's been a complete 180. I had a chance, an opportunity to play golf with Penny and a big group of people out in Las Vegas, celebrate Penny's birthday, and got really a chance to sit down and talk with Penny. And I've known Penny for a long, long time, and he's a good guy. He really is a good guy, but it hurt him. I mean, it mentally did some damage, that season that they had last year. It was hard on him hearing all the negativity. And I'm not saying that some of that wasn't warranted. It was. And some of that he brought on himself. And I think he learned from that. So this is a tweet from Jason Munz. he and Parth were at the coaches show last night, the radio coaches show, and both tweeted out different comments made by Penny. This one, I'm just happened to be looking at Jason's. He said, Penny Hardaway on looking himself in the mirror after last season's collapse. Quote, it showed me I needed to learn so much more. This is a totally different business than you would ever understand. It's not as easy as you think. To not make the NCAA tournament, there were some dark days. I just had to check myself and say, hey, it's time for me to grow up. I came back with a renewed mindset, ready to go. I applaud Penny Hardaway. It took a while, and we didn't really hear anything about that. Again, he unleashed at the media, and I didn't understand it. I don't think it was warranted, but he had his reasons. Then he talked about the team and getting them all together by May 1st, which pretty much was the situation this year, to find that cohesiveness and that chemistry. Yes, there was still the stories that came out in the fall. There was the Tyreek Smith situation. There was the firing of several coaches, the hiring of others. There was the anonymous letter that came out, or email. So that was all going on. But Penny, with self-reflection, had himself in a better state and a better spot to coach up this team this season. And so far, so good. Fingers crossed. Renewed energy, renewed vigor, and just a different mental capacity for the coach who, by that quote and others that he said last night, other statements he made, admits to making mistakes.
Yeah, I certainly applaud him for realizing that and understanding that he maybe needed to do some things differently and change some things. And yeah, I mean, certainly, so far this year, it's been very good. Now, early last year was good as well. Can they keep that up, go through the conference play, take care of this conference, quite frankly, the way they should, when we now see that UAB, who figured to be basically the only competition in the conference, is having a disastrous year to this point. Now, they could, I guess, theoretically turn it around at some point, but it's been an absolute awful beginning for UAB. So at this point, you would say that the Tigers are the overwhelming favorites, which believe from the get-go they should have been the overwhelming favorites to win that conference. So you got to take care of business. And again, the problem with that is any stumble whatsoever in the conference ends up being a bad stumble because there just isn't any quality games within that conference. So they're going to have to be dominant in the conference. They have to continue to win in the non-conference. They've still got some huge games coming up, some nice resume building opportunities coming up, and hopefully that all equals a better seed in the NCAA tournament, and you're not stuck in that 8-9 area if you do get in, and where it becomes a really difficult path into that second weekend.
Yeah, I want to make sure I clarify what I said earlier and what I had read. This wasn't Jeff Calkins' story about Memphis and the football team and the basketball team being ranked. He talked about with the Grizzlies, a playoff team, those teams being ranked. You're talking about right now the possibility of all three of these teams having that kind of success. Right now, of course, Memphis in as a ranked team in basketball, a ranked team to finish the regular season in football, and the Grizzlies right now, if the playoffs were to start today, would be in the playoffs. So you're having that type of season. But I thought I had read a few other people, not Jeff's article, but other people had said that. So that's my mistake if I misunderstood what they were saying. Because I had thought all along, wait a minute, those teams have been ranked at the same time. But it is something that should be applauded and something that should be appreciated. We talked about this yesterday on the show, that while there are some people that believe, I don't know if they've changed their minds since the win at Tulane, but that Memphis should have made a coaching change. And you could have your own opinion, and you're entitled to it. I think it's a wrong opinion, but who am I to say it's wrong? It's your opinion. But I believe that was ludicrous to hear that kind of stuff. But then again, it was out there, and they went out and beat Tulane. Did not settle the issue of not making the conference championship. So certainly there's disappointment, and there's excitement about the program still being right there near the top of the conference. Not at the top because they're not in the championship game. But then a basketball team that's turned everything around after last year's disaster. So far, so good. And you hope that they stay on the same road. And then the Grizzlies, who are playing fabulous basketball, still without a full roster, and have won 6 in a row. And it looks like the prospects are good for them, knock on wood, barring any more unforeseen injuries and major losses as far as personnel is concerned. This is good time right now. This is a really, really good time for Memphis sports. And that was our theme yesterday to some extent, that you have to embrace that and you have to enjoy it. You can't think about, well, what's on the other side? What could happen? You know, again, you make a coach change, which is not happening. You don't know if it's going to be better. You don't know if it's going to be better on the other side. Yesterday, Florida Atlantic struggled this year. Tom Herman, big name. They went out and got a big name. Before Tom Herman, they had Lane Kiffin at one point. Instead, this time around, they go out. They get a 33-year-old head coach. Zach Kitty, the Texas Tech offensive coordinator, 33 years of age, takes over the job at Florida Atlantic. Just because he's young doesn't mean he'll go in there and not kick tail. But, again, there's a drastic change for a program that's in a drastic situation. They're in a dire situation. Memphis is not in a dire situation. And, again, you don't know if the grass is always greener on the other side. And that's why when several weeks ago people were talking about, yeah, why don't you make a change now? I'm thinking, what are you talking about here? This is not a team that is regressing, okay? It's a team that had a tough situation at UTSA, and they made it harder for themselves. Not converting first downs on fourth down opportunities from short yardage. The momentum changed in that game. You lost the game. We know what happened at Navy. Had a chance to win it in the end through a pick. Not all on Seth, but they had a chance. That's it. Everything else they won. But then people are going to knock them for the schedule they played. Well, again, you set the schedule up several years ago. You didn't know Florida State was going to be a disaster. And if Florida State wasn't a disaster, you weren't expected to go down there and win that game with a normal Florida State program. But you did. So you can't sneeze at 10 wins back-to-back. First time ever in history. And again, basketball, to give this team and give this community a shot in the arm, you got to go back and credit Penny for looking in the mirror. And that's basically what he was talking about last night at his coaching show.
Well, Florida Atlantic, I mean, they're trying to go for offense. They go get a guy in Kitley who was a Cliff Kingsbury protege. He was at Western Kentucky the year that Bailey Zappi threw for nearly 6,000 yards. I mean, it's you are going to have a up-tempo, sling it around offense now at Florida Atlantic, and see if he's able to get them going, because it just didn't work at all under Tom Herman. But they will be one of these teams now that is going to be trying to put up a whole bunch of points and see if they can outscore you, basically.
Well, it's all about the offense. Did you see what Oklahoma did with their new OC? Their new hiring, Arbuckle, 29 years old, comes from Washington State. They had the number 12 ranked scoring offense this year, number 9 in passing efficiency, 22 in total offense. 29 years of age. Doesn't matter. If you're an innovative mind, if you have that innovative mind, if you could think outside the box, yes, you want to have a really good defense, and Oklahoma's defense is not bad, but you've got to score points. You've got to have some sort of offense. And going out there and getting a guy who has had success is obviously the way Brent Venables wants to go, and I think it's the smart way to go. Okay, we've talked a lot about the polls. We've talked a lot about Tigers basketball and Penny's coach's show last night. When we come back, it's all about college football. It's all about what we can expect to see tonight with the college football rankings. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With two conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom-made solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Felix Cavalieri, founding member of the Rascals, will be performing with Six Water, this year's Puzzle Liberty Bowl, and you want to be there too. We'll hear all the iconic hits at the President's Gala on December 26th in Lehigh, and at halftime, 66 Puzzle Liberty Bowl on December 27th. Get your tickets today by calling the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at 795-7700. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk. Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. We have seen a couple of minor wrecks out here right now. We're watching it build pretty good on 385 Biltmore Parkway coming in from Collierville, working your way down 385 all the way past Winchester. Traffic still looks good right now. Coming up from the south, it is building on 55 northbound up by State Line Road. All that traffic flowing up right now from South Haven. Shop now and save during the holiday season at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. We got some recruiting news to get to. Again, signing day tomorrow, National Signing Day. Also, some weekly awards for Memphis Tigers football and basketball. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Nolan Smith in studio at 8:05. Tigers assistant basketball coach. We'll talk high school football. We'll talk Mace, and Cedric Miller, their head coach, will join us at 9:05 to talk about their championship battle this weekend. Friday, 2 o'clock in Chattanooga, the Class 1A title. It'll be Mace versus South Pittsburgh. We got Humdinger's trivia coming your way as well. But right now, it's time to talk to Connor O'Gara.
It's time to talk some SEC and college football. Joining Greg and Eli is Connor O'Gara from SaturdayDownSouth.com and SaturdayTradition.com. Here's Connor O'Gara with Greg and Eli.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Announcer Man, but he's not just a columnist. He's the senior national columnist for Saturday Down South, host of the Saturday Down South podcast. He is Connor O'Gara. You can follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. He's with us every other week talking college football and joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Good morning, Connor.
Gentlemen, hope you're doing well. It feels like we're actually about to get a really significant playoff ranking show tonight, which I don't always think that they are, but tonight it absolutely feels significant, and I feel like that's something that's going to make people just a little bit mad, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think it is significant. I wish it was more chaotic. It's not going to be as chaotic as I had hoped. I always root for chaos. I think a lot of things fell into place last weekend, even though we had some major upsets. But there are still questions that need to be answered. and some teams that people think will get in may not get in. Not some, but at least one or two. Obviously, we have the situation with Clemson. They could take care of business themselves if they can win the ACC championship, and some believe that SMU is a given. I don't know. Are they a given if SMU gets, or if Clemson gets in as the automatic?
Yes. How could they not be? I mean, this is a joke if we're going to leave out SMU. At 11-1, a team that did not lose a single game in ACC play, and their only loss was an early season loss against BYU, which has aged like fine wine.
Mm-hmm.
And Rhett Lashley is sitting there as the ACC Coach of the Year with a team that is dominated, that has a couple of quality wins, not necessarily a deep resume, but I think the ranking still reflects that. If they're sitting there at 11-1, and they're being rewarded with an extra game, how in the world are they going to fall 4 spots for losing to Clemson?
Mm-hmm.
How in the world would that make any sort of sense? No, I think SMU is absolutely in. If the selection committee wants to set that precedent, it'll have a mutiny on its hands, and it'll have teams that want to opt out of playing in conference championship games, and you're going to de-incentivize conference championships right after you incentivize them. What in the world would be the point of that? It would be totally backwards logic to do that. I think that SMU should feel like it's in, and I think they're going to win the ACC championship, but I guess that's sort of independent of whether or not they should be in with a loss in that conference title game.
If they do win, who do you think has the best case, the best argument to be that 12th team in then? And do you think the committee will go with the one that you believe has the best case?
I think Miami still has more of a chance than people are realizing. And we're going to spend all this time talking about the 3 loss SEC teams. And look, I don't want to see that Miami defense in the playoff. I want to see Cam Ward in the playoff because he would be easily the best quarterback in the field. It's kind of crazy when you look up and down the quarterbacks that would be in the playoff, and you realize very quickly quarterback play in the college football playoff this year is not going to be what we thought it could be. And there are a lot of questions, and it feels like a lot of these teams could lose games as a result of their quarterbacks. But I do think that Miami is going to get the benefit of the doubt in this all-important ranking tonight. And I think that Miami could come in at that number 11 spot. And remember, that's the key. You want to be sitting there, at number 10 or number 11 going into conference championship weekend if you're an idle team. Whereas if you're sitting there at 12, like I have South Carolina projected, I have them leapfrogging Ole Miss and Alabama, even though they don't have the head-to-head against either of them. But I think winning 6 in a row, 4 against teams that are in the AP top 25 at the time of the matchup, I think that you need to remember the Big 12 champ is going to slide into that top 12, and they're going to covet one of those automatic bids as one of the 5 highest-ranked conference champs. So I do think that we're going to spend all this time talking about 3 lost teams when I think that they're just going to give the benefit of the doubt to Miami because that's kind of what they've done throughout this entire process.
All right, so let's recap here. If Clemson wins, we're not even we don't even have to worry about that. If Clemson doesn't win, then it's probably going to come down to 4 teams. You just mentioned Miami, South Carolina, Bama, Ole Miss. I don't believe there's any other team that would be in that mix. If it is Miami, let's say Clemson loses, there's an open spot, they take Miami. That would leave 3 SEC teams in. Is that a disappointment?
Yeah, it is. I've been saying from the jump, 4 was going to be the expectation. 5 would be a flex on them year, and 3 would be a disappointment. That's going to be the case, I think, on a yearly basis for both Big Ten and SEC. And there's a reason why they are seeking 4 teams apiece in this expanded playoff when that contract is renewed and we inevitably expand in 2026. Mm-hmm. And I do think that this is still a question for the SEC of, all right, well, how good is the conference? I'm still asking that question. Does the conference have a bunch of really solid teams and no elite team? Because that's kind of what it feels like at this point. I mean, does that mean the SEC can still find a way to have 3 of the 4 in the semifinal games? I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think that's necessarily impossible, especially when you consider the coaches that could be getting 3 weeks to prepare for some of these matchups or more with the first-round bye. I think that's on the table, but I just don't think it's some slam dunk that the SEC will, oh my gosh, just get them into the playoff, and once you get them there, they're going to dominate on a neutral site. And SEC fans don't want to hear it, but it ignores kind of the reality of this season, and that a lot of these teams have sort of played down to competition. There's not as much separation, and even Tennessee fans can admit that there's not an overwhelming confidence factor with the Vols and who they've been, and the fact that they got banged up in that Vandy game, I think, puts that even more into question. So, yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of questions moving forward, but 3 would be considered a disappointment. You would not hear Greg Sankey do anything more than complain about having just 3 teams in.
Where do you think Ohio State falls to?
Gosh, it's a great question, isn't it, Eli? I think they fall to 6. I think they fall to 6 in between Georgia at 5 and Tennessee at 7. But, and here's the thing. Tennessee fans are going to say, well, why don't we get to move ahead of them? Well, because Ohio State has two really, really nice wins. Tennessee has 1. You say, well, Ohio State just got embarrassed. Well, what happened with Tennessee at Arkansas, all right? Arkansas was 6-16. Okay, let's not pretend like Tennessee just doesn't have like they avoided an embarrassment. No, that was their first loss of the season. So I think Ohio State, as the top-ranked 1-loss team going into last weekend, is going to get the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to figure out the selection committee if we're seeing any sort of these patterns. I sort of gave up arguing the Texas Penn State resume thing a couple of weeks ago because I realized the selection committee is just telling us we think they're really good. And we value what they did last year. We value the guys that they had coming back this year. We don't care about the last quality wins. We just think they're really good. So I think that it's very fascinating to see how far Ohio State falls now as an idle team going into conference championship weekend. I would love to know how much prep Penn State had done for Oregon going into last weekend, thinking Ohio State surely will take care of Michigan. But, yeah, I mean, this is going to be a very, very fascinating ranking. A lot of people will be heavily dissecting how far Ohio State falls.
Connor O'Gara joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines and guest line. Of course, you can follow Connor on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. All right, so as we kind of look back at this first year of the 12-team playoff, and nothing has been decided yet, we'll get more of a picture of everything tonight. But doesn't it show you that it's better for one of these power conferences to be top-heavy than it is to have parity? Because parity, in a sense, has hurt the SEC. It has definitely hurt the Big 12. Now, people look at the SEC and they go, oh, it's still a great conference, but there's parity. We look at the Big 12 and go, well, there's mediocrity. I don't know. We don't know for sure. But the Big 10 has benefited by being top-heavy with 4 really good teams and the rest crap.
I've been saying this forever. And for all the Big 10 fans who have hated the fact that the SEC has had this, the SEC bias, and the SEC isn't as good as we think, and, like, look at our number 8 team. It's just as good as the SEC's number 8 team. You know what nobody cares about? That. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares about that at all. You know what people care about? When 2 teams from a conference are playing in a national championship. You know what people care about? When a team gets to storm through the regular season and win a national championship. People care so much more about your elite teams. People care so much more about the fact that the SEC, when it gets to a New Year's Six Bowl, more times than not, it wins those games. It has a winning record, and the Big Ten in the playoff era has been much closer to 500. I think they're 13-11 in those games. The ACC and the SEC is like, I want to say it's like 18-10 or something like that. I can't remember. I did those exact numbers early in the season. And meanwhile, the ACC, I don't really want to hear it from Jim Phillips. I don't really want to hear it from people saying, well, the ACC doesn't get enough respect. You know who hasn't won a New Year's Six Bowl game in the 2020s decade? The ACC. All right? That's why your conference, Dabo Sweeney, doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. That's why we look at it and say, I don't know. What does it say that SMU came into this conference and dominated it? How about that? We could have 4 power conference champs that are new to the conference. I mean, think about that with Oregon and with Texas and with SMU and the fact that you could also have Arizona State winning the Big 12. I mean, that just kind of shows you how much this has been a different sort of year. And you know what? It's a good opportunity for these conferences to create a new sort of expectation, reputation among the selection committee. But as of now, we kind of default to what we know and what we've seen the last few years.
How much of an advantage at all do you think it is to have the first round bye, to be one of those top 4? And then, because then you're basically going, nearly a month without playing. With the fact that if you play, you're going to get like 10 days between games anyway. It's not like it's a quick turnaround at any point. Because if I remember right, I think even Nick Saban said on game day one week that he would rather play that first round game at home and not have to wait the month to play your first game. What do you think on that?
I disagree. Look, teams have had to wait a month to play playoff games before. That's not anything new. I do think that being able to stay healthy and know that, look, if you're that team that gets a first round bye, you get to game plan for a month and know that you can have 2 game plans and you can prep entirely for those 2 teams. And to me, having that advantage of understanding of like, all right, this is what we're getting into. These are the 2 types of teams that we have to prepare for. If there's a situation like, oh, you're preparing to face Texas or something like that, and we need to be able to spend a little bit of extra time in practice preparing for Arch. There are things that you get as a team that gets that first round bye that I don't think should be taken for granted. And I think there are a lot of teams right now that are pretty banged up and would like to be able to have that extra time, that extra 10 days to be able to get healthy and feel like you are at closer to full strength than you were at the end of the regular season. So I think the incentive is there, and I understand there's a lot of incentive to have a first-round playoff game at your campus, and that's awesome. I think a team like Notre Dame is really going to benefit from that, kind of changing the national perception of who they are, and if they can win a game like that, I think that'll matter a lot. But at the same time, I don't think that should be discounted, and I think with the marathon that is the college football playoff now, I think that that's the type of thing that could add up and make a difference in one of these games.
Do you see any chance in heck that the Big 12 winner can jump ahead of Boise, assuming Boise wins over UNLV in the Mountain West Championship?
It really depends on tonight. Now, if Arizona State comes in at 12 tonight, that's interesting. That would be fascinating. That would be the thing that people aren't really talking about as much because of all these 3-loss SEC teams. Oh, South Carolina deserving, Alabama, Ole Miss. And that to me would all of a sudden be like, okay, now they have a realistic chance of being able to jump them. Fortunately for Boise State, if they can take care of business against the Barry Odom-led UNLV running Rebs, I don't think that we call them the running Rebs in football, but that's okay. They get the benefit of being able to say we're facing a top 25 team. The Mountain West turned out to be pretty good this year. You're still getting to face a top 25 team, and it's really not that different from the type of opponent that you're seeing Arizona State have to face with that matchup against Iowa State. So if they're at 12, maybe, but I still think Boise State's going to be in a really, really good spot. The selection committee's given them a lot of respect, and I think the Ashton Genty factor is really, really big, and obviously the close loss to Oregon is kind of everything right now for their resume. So it's possible, but I would still say more likely is that Boise State is going to be in the top 12 going into this and feeling like they're not going to have to be on the outside looking in, getting jumped by the Big 12.
You said in the preseason that you thought Georgia and Texas would match up 3 times this year. We get number 2. What do you expect to happen in the SEC championship game?
My early lean was Texas, and the closer I get to Saturday, and I'm looking forward to being there. I haven't been in person for a game all year, and I'm really looking forward to being there on Saturday. Yeah, it's I've been one thing after another. It's kind of nice to be able to watch on the multi-view at home, YouTube TV. I know a lot of people have really gravitated to that. I have been a huge supporter of that this year, but I'm looking forward to being there in person and not feeling like I'm missing a bunch of games. So the closer I get to it, I think I lean Georgia now. And I go back to what we saw in Austin and how much that defensive line overwhelmed Texas's offensive line. And they lose Kelvin Banks, the left tackle, the future first-round pick. Texas loses him in that A&M game. And they had a freshman come in and play really, really well, and they protected Quinn Ewers. But I kind of lean Georgia with the way that they've had to fight back in some of these games. And it's not to say that it's a bulletproof method, but Carson Beck is currently in the midst of 118 passes without an interception. It's the longest stretch of his career. Hasn't had a pick since that Ole Miss game. And I do think that Georgia, even though I obviously had to fight, and have 8 overtimes to be able to get through Georgia Tech, I still think that what we've seen from them in some of these big-time games suggests I think they're going to be all right. And maybe that'll be put to the test with Sark being able to make those adjustments. But I do lean Georgia, and I think that Georgia defensive line might just be a force that Texas can't quite have the answers for. But I don't know. Ask me in 2 days, and maybe it'll change again.
Real quick, are you surprised that Texas is the favorite?
A little bit. a little bit. Texas has been the more consistent team. The best unit in this game is the Texas defense. And, I just praised the Georgia defense. They had the single most impressive performance of the season, what they did in Austin, obviously, but Texas defense, guys, is lights out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've only had 2 games all year where they've allowed over 200 passing yards. And both games were games in which the quarterbacks got benched, Kentucky and Michigan. Like, this unit is so good. They pitched a shutout at A&M. They only allowed the pick 6. It doesn't count against the defense. So from that standpoint, I'm not that surprised. And you just kind of trust Sark to be able to adjust. Quinn Ewers' ankle thing, maybe not going to scare Vegas because of the arch factor. So I don't know. I don't think that's stunning. Texas has been the better football team, despite obviously what happened a month and a half ago in Austin.
If Georgia had not had to go 8 overtimes to beat Georgia Tech, do you think they would have been favored?
Possibly. If they had won that game by 28, I think that would have, that probably could have swayed things, but they didn't. And Georgia's fallen behind in a lot of these games. Carson Beck doesn't even rank in the top 100 in FBS in first half quarterback rating. I mean, that's stunning to think about. Guy who's maybe going to be the number 1 overall pick if he had put it all together this year, and he has really struggled in the first half of these games. His receivers obviously have not helped him whatsoever. Most drops of any unit in all of college football. But, yeah, maybe that would have made the difference in Vegas setting that line.
Yeah, I don't know if you can afford to have one good half and win this football game. We'll find out on Saturday. We got a lot of great action coming up this weekend. Of course, Connor will have you covered at Saturday Down South. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara and read all his stuff at Saturday Down South. Listen to the Saturday Down South podcast and catch him with us every other Tuesday talking college football. So we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Enjoy the games.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
Thanks, Connor.
Folks, the holiday shopping season is here. And over at Genesis Diamonds, they have loaded up for the holiday season with all kinds of great gift ideas. And how about 5 years, 0 interest financing available on all of it? That's right. 5 years, 0 interest financing across the board over at Genesis Diamonds. So whatever that special woman in your life might be looking for, well, they've got it. From simple diamond stud earrings to one-of-a-kind designer bracelets, maybe engagement rings, whatever it is, they've got a wonderful selection, case after case of jewelry for you to choose from. Any budget, they've got you taken care of at Genesis Diamonds. They've got a great group of experts over there not working on commission to help you pick out that beautiful gift that's sure to make her extremely happy this holiday season. Get that most romantic, most memorable gift for the season at Genesis Diamonds. And right now, get 5 years, 0 interest financing on that. That's again, Genesis Diamonds. They're at Poplar, Perkins Extended. You can get holiday store hours. You can get financing details, all of that at genesisdiamonds.com for this holiday season. Get that beautiful gift at Genesis Diamonds.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
High-energy, full-body workout that utilizes the same equipment and technology employed by Floyd Mayweather to achieve his impressive 50-0 record. The workout features 4 types of heavy bags, treadmills, rows, battle ropes, weights, and much more. Visit Mayweather Boxing and Fitness, located at 2257 North Germantown Parkway in Cordova. Train like a champ. Mayweather Boxing and Fitness. 901-673-1267.
Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery instead of dependable service and no long-term contracts. An easy choice. Call Jeff Menas today. 901-382-2363 or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
They're taking care of business in Memphis, right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their product. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Looking for the best prices on shirts, jeans, boots, and more? Frontier Western Store's got you covered. At Frontier, you'll always find amazing deals on everything in the store. Unlike online and chain stores who run occasional sales, Frontier keeps prices low every single day. So you get the best deal whenever you shop. Be ready for winter with a full line of outerwear by Ariat, Carhartt, Vans, and coats galore. And then there's Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Come shop new styles by Ariat. Plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need burger, dress boots, or what gear at the place, see thousands of boots from Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twister X, and many more with daily arrivals. And Frontier makes Christmas shopping easy because everyone loves to see a new pair of boots on the tree. For the lowest prices every day, visit Frontier Western Store at 5880 Boone Road, Elm Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Coming up at 8:05, Nolan Smith in studio, Memphis Tigers assistant basketball coach, former national champion and All-American at Duke University. Got Humdinger's Trivia. That'll come your way at 8:25. Usually at 8:05 will be 8:25. So yesterday was a good day. We've been talking a lot about Memphis and being ranked, both football and men's basketball. Yesterday, the announcement from the American Conference that Memphis had swept the weekly awards for football. Redshirt junior Greg DeWosier named the Offensive Player of the Week. Had a brilliant game against Tulane. 8 catches for 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, 41 yards rushing, another touchdown. I believe he broke at least 3 or 4 ankles in that game. And then senior defensive back Cortland Marsh, who has had an injury-plagued season. He came over from Stanford, and this was only his 4th game. So hoping to get that red shirt and come back next year. He was the Defensive Player of the Week at 6 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 pass breakup. Memphis also, according to reports, flipping a 3-star defensive tackle, JaQuinton Madison. They get him after he had committed to Arkansas. And again, nothing official until there's signatures on the dotted line. Tomorrow is National Signing Day. Brian Moss from Rivals will join us on Friday to recap everything that's going on with signing day for the University of Memphis. And then from the basketball world, Tyrese Hunter named the American Conference Player of the Week. He averaged 20 points per game and 3 assists in their 3 games in Maui, where the Tigers went 2-1. All he did was hit 14 of 24 from 3. That's Cam Spencer-like.
Yeah, no surprise really on either one of those with the way the Tigers performed in Maui and what he was able to do, and then what the Tigers getting the big win over Tulane and what DeWosier was able to do. Certainly not a real surprise to see the Tigers dominating the awards for the week throughout the American Athletic Conference. But again, very, very good week because not only the performances or anything else, but a lot of exposure for the university last week. When you talk about the games in Maui, the exposure that always gets, plus the Thanksgiving night game for the Tigers. Now, granted, you were going up against the NFL, but still that slot for college football, the only game going on at that time. So a lot of great exposure last week for the University of Memphis overall, and they performed well in the spotlight.
No question about it. So you got a lot going on because you got recruiting going on for the high school and junior college, and then you got the portal, which is also wide open. You got the coaching carousel happening. Yesterday, some news from the portal. USC quarterback Miller Moss, he will transfer. Caden Salter, quarterback for Liberty, formerly of Coastal Carolina, he will transfer, just to name a few. There's a number of quarterbacks. Appalachian State fires their coach, Sean Clark. He was 40-24 in 5 seasons.
Yeah, they didn't have the year this year that they were expected to have, and this is interesting the way this is going. We're seeing a lot from the Group of Five coaching changes, not hardly any from the Power Five. But yeah, I mean that's again at App State. I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly they're expecting to be able to do, but I know this year did not live up to expectations, and apparently that was enough to make a move.
Yeah, I think they expect to win their conference every year. So, again, you're looking at a coach who was 16 games over 500 in 5 seasons. But their expectations since they joined 1A from 1AA has always been that we're going to come in like gangbusters and win our conference. And if they don't get it done, they make a move. Shoot 360 Memphis. You want to get it done on the basketball court? This is the place for you. You can perfect your shot, become a better overall basketball player, challenge yourself, compete with others. It is a really cool place because it combines cutting-edge technology, gamification, and provides instant objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. Some of the best coaches in the business at Shoot 360 Memphis. And now the Cordova location, this is a beautiful facility. 50,000 square foot, 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology, and now memberships are on a monthly basis. This is a great Christmas present, right? Give somebody in your family, basketball player, give a loved one a membership to Shoot 360 Memphis. Again, you are having a great time in the modern analytics and technology that they use in that gamification, even for little kids. I've had my grandsons go in there just learning how to throw chest passes and bounce passes and do it while having fun with the games that are on these video screens. It's a really cool place. But the bays where you put up your shots and get that instant feedback, there's nothing like it. And again, you're not bogged down with a long-term year or multi-year contract. Month to month. If you don't like it, that's fine. No harm, no foul. If you like it, you sign up for another month or additional months. That's the way to go. So to get more information, to take a tour of the facilities, give them a call in Cordova at 901-779-3176 or in Collierville at 901-316-5500. You can go straight online and sign up as well. Just go to Shoot 360 Memphis. But I would suggest get a tour of the facilities. You can become a member at both facilities. You're going to fall in love with it. I can guarantee you that. Shoot 360 Memphis. The future of basketball is training is here at Shoot 360 Memphis. Speaking of shooting, when we come back, he was a heck of a shooter in his day. Nolan Smith, the Memphis Tiger assistant basketball coach, the former Duke sharpshooter, NBA first-round draft pick. He joins us in studio. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour for 3 cents. $1 off all draft meals, $5 off will drinks, $4.50 for house wine, mozzarella sticks, queso, $4 a day. Friday night lights from 7 Club, dining in Montreal, Wednesday night, Raiders free. I'll watch college football every home game. Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Highway 70. Fall is football.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest match ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Let me guess, you're going to recommend that everyone get their holiday meal from Central Barbecue.
No, although it's a great idea, get everybody some fantastic Central Barbecue and not have to do any of the work, but that is not what this spot is about.
It's not?
No, this is about another way Central Barbecue can save you time and trouble.
Ah, Central Barbecue gift cards.
That's right. You don't have to fight the holiday gift shoppers when you can just go online and order up a handful of Central Barbecue gift cards.
No one has ever turned up their nose at getting the best barbecue in Memphis.
In the world.
In the world for free.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Good morning. It's trying to load up over here with more volume on 40 westbound at Sycamore View Road. You got all that traffic coming in right now from Fayette County into Shelby County. A little bit of radar out there in Fayette County this morning, so be careful. It's gotten busier, but it's still moving on 385 Bill Morris Parkway as you work your way past Winchester all the way up to 240. Shop now and save during this holiday season at Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Dave Voloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Little Stevie Wonder, never hurt anybody. Welcome back. Hour 2 of the program, 8:02 the time. Little thing we call Sports 56 Mornings, the Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Siggers with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Great deals going on all the time, but especially now as we get closer to Christmas, Hanukkah, and the gift-giving season. Currently 27 degrees. That's right, folks. I didn't stutter. 27 degrees as you leave your household today. 41 for a high. That's it. Even with sunshiny skies, only 41. And then your overnight low Tuesday into Wednesday, 29 degrees for an overnight low. 52 for your high on Wednesday. Of course, on Wednesday, the Memphis Tigers men's basketball team will be back in action. Nolan Smith joins us in just a moment. Reminder that hour 2 of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. I'll give you more on them a little bit later on in the hour. We got Humdinger's trivia coming your way in about 20 minutes or so. But without further ado, it is our pleasure to have in studio Memphis Tigers assistant coach Nolan Smith, who was an All-American basketball player at Duke, a national champion at Duke. He's been an assistant coach at Duke and at Louisville. Of course, his father, Derek, was a fantastic basketball player, played at Louisville, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you in studio. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank y'all for having me on.
Thank you for coming out in the cold to be with us,
Absolutely,
man.
yeah.
And all you got is a hoodie on. You're not even that bundled up.
Nah, it's not that bad yet. It's
not that bad?
Cold. It's a little cold. It's not that bad.
Well, congratulations on everything that's going on with Memphis Tigers basketball. Great showing in Maui. We'll talk about that in a second, and a great start to the season. But first, let's go back. Your decision to come to Memphis as an assistant coach on Penny's staff, how did that all happen, and what was the ultimate decision when you decided that I was going to come? What was the ultimate factor?
Yeah, well, I've been a huge fan of Coach Penny Hardaway for a very long time. I had a little Penny doll when I was growing up, so just being a fan of him as a player and always following him from his coaching journey to high school to getting the job here, I've been a huge fan. And then obviously watching Memphis basketball for a long time with good friends like Will Barton and Derrick Rose and what they did here, I've been a fan of Memphis. So when Coach Penny and I started talking really 3 years ago and getting to know each other, I loved his philosophies on basketball. I loved how he thought. I loved his defensive tenacity and how he wanted to defend, and offensively the freedom that he gives players is something that I knew I wanted to be a part of when the opportunity presented itself. So when it presented itself again, here I am. It was a no-brainer.
What led you into coaching when you were in your playing days? Did you always think that I want to get into coaching when I'm done? What led you on that path?
Yes, my dad, when he finished his 9-year NBA career, he was a coach for the Washington Bullets when he had passed away. So from coaching to playing, something that he did and something I wanted to follow in his footsteps in doing. So coaching was always in my background, something I wanted to do when I was done playing. I didn't know how soon it was going to happen, but through injuries, I got into my coaching career early. But it was really a big reason why I chose to go to Duke. Just to learn the game under Coach K, but also just prepare myself for life after basketball and play under one of the greatest coaches of all time. So I always wanted to do that, and so when the time was ready, I wanted to give back to this game, give back to these players that are trying to chase their dreams.
Speaking of Coach K, I'm sure you learned a lot of lessons from him. What was maybe one thing that really stood out that you have taken into your coaching career from Coach K?
Follow your instincts. That's the main thing. Follow your instincts. When you've studied this game and you know this game, and you're really obsessed with what you're doing, you love your craft. When it gets down to it, when you're teaching, coaching in the game, follow your instincts. That's one thing he's always allowed us to do as assistant coaches. It's something that will always stick with me. Go with my instincts and go after it.
Is it because it seems like there's a ton of Duke guys who have gotten into coaching.
Yep,
You look around like, man, that guy Duke. Is that because of him, and just the influence he has, and that makes those guys better coaches?
Absolutely. He teaches us so many things about the game, about the business of the game. That's why there's so many GMs that obviously played at Duke. There's GMs, there's front office guys, there's coaches. We're obsessed with the game. We love the game, and Coach K really instills that in us the minute we step foot on campus. And everybody's different, but I was definitely one of those guys that fell in love with the process, fell in love with teaching, fell in love with learning this game. That, again, it led me to where I am today, and it's led so many guys in their path to becoming the best coaches they can be.
Nolan Smith joining us in studio, the former Duke All-American, national champion, first-round draft pick of the Portland Trailblazers, now, of course, an assistant coach with the Memphis Tigers. It's interesting because I hear Coach Cal was here for all those years, and you talk to Cal and other coaches, and they talk about how they're getting guys prepared for the next level. Yep. Not everybody's going to make it, but some certainly are, especially at a high caliber programs. And Memphis is certainly one, Duke, obviously, Louisville.
Yep.
But there's got to be a fine line, too, between, look, we're trying to get you guys ready, but we want the best version of you to win now, to win a national championship.
Yes.
That's got to be first, and getting to the NBA is certainly 1B.
Yep.
But there are teams sometimes around the country where it just doesn't mesh. Memphis last year, it didn't mesh with the players. It seems like this team is all on the same page.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Coach Penny has really put together a really good group of guys, and the first thing he does an amazing job at is, first of all, preparing them for life. And when you prepare them for life and teaching them how to win off the court, it ends up leading on the court. And with this group of guys, they bought into that. They bought into that culture of just winning in all aspects of life. And then it just somehow lends its hand to basketball. They're bought in. They show up every single day ready to work on the court. They're together. They're connected. And I think you see that within their play.
The trip to Maui and the success you guys had out there, when you're bringing in an entirely new roster of guys and piecing them together, you figure there might be some stumbles early on, but why have you had the success right away, you think, with this group?
The care factor is there. They want to win. Coach Penny has these guys really caring and really bought into winning games. And the beautiful thing for us is, and for the city of Memphis is, we're not even close to scratching the surface of how good we can be because we're still learning. We're still learning each other. The players are still learning each other. So there's so many areas that we know we can grow in. Even with the early season success, we have to continue to put our foot down and lock in, watch more film, do more stuff, more drills to make sure these guys are getting better every single day.
You obviously have to buy in, first of all, and have that chemistry, which you have. But also it seems like from afar, when I watch this team, that roles are defined.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's times when teams maybe don't define the roles and guys go out there and try to do too much or do things that they're not good at doing. Am I on the right track here that it seems like everybody knows what they do well and they go out there and try to do that.
Absolutely. Everybody pretty much knows who they are already, and now they're just going to get better in their roles. That's part of the growth. There's still so many things we can find within our big guys, getting more lobs to our big guys, getting them different touches around the rim. There's so many more things that we can add. We know who's scoring. We know who's rebounding. We know who our defenders are. Now let's get better in those roles so that we can continue to grow.
It's one thing to beat a highly ranked team, but right now Connecticut is, they're the 2-time defending champions.
Yep.
You come from Duke. A lot of teams measured themselves by beating Duke, and that means something. So what did it mean to be able to get a win over a program like Connecticut?
It's a big early season win, and it gives you confidence. It gives your team a high level of confidence that you need early in the year, and it gives you something to build off of, something we can always look back on and look, we beat a championship program, right? So that means we have championship value somewhere deep down in us. Now, does it show up every single day? It has to. So those are the little things that we have to continue to get out to be able to call ourselves a championship team. And I think that win it's gonna be with us. Our guys have to know what we did. They have to know what we did in Maui. But at the end of the day, it's on to the next thing. It's on to the next play, and you move on. The next game is our next big game.
I think it's pretty evident, and Penny, I think, has talked about it. But to have the chance to play Alabama and North Carolina in exhibition games, how much did that make you ready to go from the get-go?
Oh, it's big time. It prepares you for everything. That's one thing I also noticed from afar with Coach Penny. He does not hide from competition.
No.
He wants to play everybody. He wants to play the best. So when I was sitting at home before I officially got down here, I was looking at the schedule. I was like, man, it's a big time schedule. And then the Alabama and the Carolina, we saw a team that shoots a lot of threes. We saw a team that attacks the paint and is one of the fastest teams historically always in Carolina that wants to push pace. Then you go to Maui and you see Michigan State who plays smash mouth basketball.
Right,
They want to get it inside. You have all these different styles of teams that we've played already. Like, we're going to be prepared for everything that comes our way when it comes to a scouting standpoint to everything. So we're going to be ready.
By the way, how much pull do you have at Duke? Can you get a home and home with Duke?
Oh, we'd love to. We'd love to.
I know Penny would want to.
Absolutely. All right. Hopefully we can get that in the works.
Duke never plays on the road.
They never do. Every game is at home, right? Every game's
or
at
it's
Cameron.
a neutral. For you, though, I know it's an exhibition and you're not wearing the Duke jersey, but how much does it kill you still to lose North Carolina?
Oh, it's instilled in me. You don't want to lose them. That's why deep down I wanted them to win, so that we played them in the championship deep down. But over there we knew whatever game we got was going to be a big time game.
How fun is it working with the guards and working with Hunter and Haggerty?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, they're big time players. They show up to work. Obviously their talent is there, but they want to win. When you talk to those guys, you look them in their eyes. What do you want to do? We want to win. Obviously everybody wants to score, everybody wants to put up their numbers, but when it comes down to it, that's one of the things that they're talking about. We came here to be on this stage, be with Coach Penny, and be a part of winning.
Coming into the season, one of the big questions was about shooting and three-point shooting in particular, because there wasn't a lot of guys with a track record of making threes. Yep. Here you guys are tops in the country in three-point shooting. Yep. So are you guys even a little surprised by this?
No, we're not surprised, because it's mandatory that our guys get a lot of shots up, and they trust their work and they put the work in. Whether it's before practice, after practice, and as long as that work never stops, you'll stay consistent with what you're doing. And they're connected, they're shooting shots with confidence, and that's our jobs as coaches to continue to build that up and make sure they're taking great shots and continue to get great shots for each other.
One of the other new additions to this coaching staff, a guy who's been around a long, long time, is Coach Mike Davis. Has had a lot of success. What's he like working with?
It's nothing like working with the OG. That's what we call him. That's the OG in the building, and just where he's been, the level of success that he's had as a coach, his seriousness that he brings to the gym, and the respect that the guys have for him. It's big time. So it's valuable to have a guy like him around at all times.
We talk about what it means to beat a Connecticut. Obviously, the Michigan State program that it has. Then you see Auburn, who is obviously really, really good, one of the top teams in the country. So, kind of, what do you take out of that game? Kind of as an eye-opening, said we've proven we're a championship type level team, but here's a championship level team, and this is what we have to be as well.
Yep, the biggest thing that we took away from that game was they have a lot of guys that have been a part of Auburn, so the care factor for them to win that championship was a little bit higher than ours because Broome has been there for 2 or 3 years. Caldwell has been there for 3 years. They're teammates, so you could see them like, man, we got to win this for Auburn. And we've taken our L's. That's the part of having new guys here with what 12 new guys, 13 new guys this year is a brand new team. We have to build that so when we get in that game again, it's more than Auburn's care factor. How bad do we want this game? Even though we haven't taken our lumps together, it's the climate of college basketball. We have to learn quickly from what happened in that game. Mm-hmm. And now next time we're in that position to win a championship or in the NCAA tournament or conference tournament first.
Right.
Conference tournament first.
One step at a time, right?
Right. I jumped ahead a little bit. Conference tournament first, and it's one game. How much do we care? How bad do we want it? Because our opponent's going to want it bad too. So by the time we get to that point in the year, our guys have to really care and really want it.
Well, with that said, and you alluded to the fact you'd like to get maybe the bigs more involved in alley-oops, and guys like Cisse, he gets it up there on top of the cylinder, it's going down. I mean, these are easy points. They're not big-time outside shooters per se. Danger does his work inside the paint. Cisse's around the rim. What other area or areas do you believe that you guys must improve upon?
I think defensively we can get a lot better. Defensively, you can always improve on the defensive end. As hard as we played over in Maui and defended, even before that in our wins, we've defended, but we defended in spurts. We want to make sure we're defending at a high level for 40 minutes, and then offensively, we want to continue to connect. We're scoring pretty easy. We're getting what we want. We're getting in the paint, but I think there's always a level of connectivity that you can have, whether you're getting more assists. We would like to be a team that has 15 to 20 assists a game. That means you're more connected. You're getting guys better shots. We can make tough shots. We have shot makers that can create and make tough shots, but can we make and create great shots where it's not as hard? So many guys that can get in the paint and draw defenses in. As we go forward, people are going to start the game plan even more. How do we keep Haggerty out the paint? How do we keep Tyrese out the paint? And how do we not let Kobe get shots? All right, well, let's use that against them and drive and kick more. Drive and kick one more. Drive again. Get the best shot that we can create. We can get a lot better at that.
Haggerty's ability to get in the paint, finish, or get to the free throw line, is there like anybody that he kind of reminds you of, maybe of somebody you either played with or against or something? But because it's really incredible, his ability to make sure he gets something out of it.
He's very unique. He's very unique. I can't think off the top of anybody that he reminds me of. I just know it's very unique with how he does it, how he gets to the foul line. He just keeps guys off balance. He keeps guys off balance. And some of the stuff he does, we do not work on. That's just that's some stuff that I was saying. There's some stuff you just can't teach.
Yeah.
He has some stuff you can't teach. He has natural instincts when he's out there playing and flowing, and he has the other team's best defender guarding him. He can somehow just find a way to get that shot up and in.
He's got pretty good size too.
Really good size.
He's not a real small guard, so that helps. All right, so you got Louisiana Tech tomorrow. We'll have that game on ESPN Plus, by the way. A little plug, selfish plug. But they're a team that's picked to win their conference.
Yep.
Arkansas State on Sunday, I think either picked to win the Sun Belt or right there. You played Ohio earlier, picked to win the MAC. This is the kind of scheduling that Penny does. He has to have so many bye games, and he's picking the best teams in those mid-major conferences. Yep. Then you turn around, you got Virginia and Clemson on the road. You got Ole Miss and Mississippi State at home. You're now nationally ranked. How can you avoid looking ahead with these two games coming up this week?
It's one championship game at a time. Like you said, the way Coach Penny schedules and choosing the team that's picked to win their league. All right, well, if we want to be an NCAA tournament team that makes a deep run, you're going to play against a La Tech in the tournament, a team that got in, and whatever seed they're in, it's this type of game.
Right.
And they're coming into Memphis. Everybody knows what Memphis basketball is about now. They've seen it. They're going to scout. They're going to be ready for it. We're now nationally ranked. We're top. We have a target on our back. The target's always been there, but now it's on our back more than ever already early in the year. It's a championship game, one game at a time, from La Tech to Arkansas State to Virginia to Clemson. It's one at a time, and we cannot look ahead to the next game. We have to win our next game and then get ready for the next one.
We got a text from Ryan who said to tell you, "Let's go Duke," and that's in all capitals. So a huge fan of you and that 2010 national championship team. So what do you What do you remember, I guess, and what stands out to you about that championship run? And what of that do you use as message to your players about when it gets to that time of year and it is, survive and advance time?
Yeah. Just how bought in our team was. And obviously it was different times. It was a time where guys stayed in college for 3 to 4 years, so it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, our mindset is a mindset these kids can still have. So to let them know how bought in we were into winning. At the end of the day, whether it's your numbers that you're trying to get, whether you're trying to get your rebounds, your blocks, all that comes when you're trying to win. So when your single focus is to be bought in on Memphis basketball winning, that's what's going to happen. Our team in 2010 was so bought in, so connected. Everybody was able to get what they wanted out of it because we won. One of my favorite sayings: everybody wins when the team wins.
Mhm.
Everybody. So that's one thing I always tell these guys.
All right, rapid fire before we let you go. You got practice coming up at 9 o'clock, and we appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely.
All right, best player at any level you've ever played with?
Ever played with?
Of course, he was the first-round draft pick of the Portland Trailblazers.
Jamal Crawford.
Jamal Crawford.
Jamal
Okay.
Crawford.
Best player you've ever played against? Had your number?
Russell Westbrook, my first career NBA start.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was.
What was your welcome to the NBA moment?
Welcome to the NBA moment. First start, he knew it was my first start, my rookie year, and he just went right at me.
What was your one really of many great moments? The one that really stood out to you aside from cutting down the nets?
Yeah. First thing that pops into my head when Kobe Bryant spoke to me.
What did he say to you?
He knew my name. So this was my rookie year, and typically Kobe called everybody Rook, like "What's up, Rook? What's up, Rook?" And he walked past me in the back tunnel and in the Rose Garden, and he was like, "What's up, Nolan? Keep working hard, man. Huge fan."
Wow.
And when I got in the car, I didn't speak for a while. I got in the car, and my sister was like, "Are you okay?" And it's like, he knew my name. She's like, "What?" He knew my name. He calls everybody else Rook. But that just he was a huge Duke fan. So he always watched Duke games. So my rookie year, he had been watching.
Wow.
Duke has obviously plenty of fans, but they also have a lot of people that hate Duke. It is the polarizing team of college basketball. Do you feed off of that when knowing how many people you disappoint when you guys continue to win?
Absolutely. It's definitely a huge part of why you choose to go to a school like Duke, because you have that target on your back. It's crazy a little bit coming here. It's not the same, but I've always felt like people have that same fight when they go up against Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the reason why I wanted to come here too. I knew that Memphis basketball is a program that has that target. It has that target. So when we step out there, La Tech is coming to play tomorrow.
Right.
It's a huge game for them. Arkansas State is a huge game for them. You come into the FedEx, our guys have to be ready every single time we put that jersey on.
Well, now you're wearing a different type of blue and gray.
That's right.
And we're happy that you're here, and we're happy that you've joined us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. He is the NCAA champion from Duke, the All-American, the first-round pick of the Portland Trailblazers, and now an assistant coach with the Memphis Tigers. Has a beautiful wife and 2 kids, and a third one on the way. Congratulations on that as well.
Mid-season baby.
A mid-season baby.
I get to have a Memphis baby.
Hopefully on the way to an American Conference championship and an NCAA tournament berth. He's Nolan Smith. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank
really
y'all so
appreciate
much.
that.
Thank y'all.
All right. We'll take a quick timeout, come back with much more, including Humdinger's Trivia. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This holiday season, give the gift of Goulds with a Goulds gift card for someone you love. Relaxation, perfectly gifted, is right for everyone. The gift of tranquility with a Goulds Spa gift card is perfect for anyone who deserves a moment to unwind, refresh, and rejuvenate. Because relaxation is the greatest gift of all. Happy holidays from Goulds. Goulds Spa, locally owned and operated since 1932.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me
share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and the staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342.
There's no place like home, Town Village.
The IMAX at Paradiso Cinema offers moviegoers a truly immersive cinematic experience, a way to enjoy movies like never before. IMAX's cutting-edge technology will make you believe you are part of the action. Visit Malco.com to reserve seats to Memphis's only IMAX theater.
Make this the most affordable Christmas. Genesis Diamonds is here to help with your most dazzling selection. And this year, Genesis is featuring their largest ever selection of luxury premium watch watches and diamonds. Relax. Genesis non-commission experts will guide you, respecting your price range, and whatever you choose, you can divide the price by 60 and get your super low bid. So you get a gift that sends the message of love like nothing else. A beautiful piece of jewelry from Genesis. Get a price around directions, finance details, and Genesis Diamonds. Genesis Diamonds. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Felix Cavalieri from the Rascals will be performing with Six Wire. This year's Puzzle Liberty Bowl, and you want to be there too. You'll hear all the iconic hits at the President's Day on December 26th in Lyon, and at halftime, 66 Puzzle Liberty Bowl on December 27th. Get your tickets today by calling the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at 795-7700. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive through. Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's heavy over here now on 40, sometimes east and westbound. There at Sycamore View Road, there's been some radar out here this morning. Give yourself extra time. It continues to build over from West Memphis on 40 East coming across the Hernando de Soto Bridge as you work your way towards the Midtown area. Shop now and save during this holiday season at Weimer's Jewelry 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. It's 8:28 here in the Family Leisure Studios. I'm sitting here perusing the Humdinger's menu. HumdingersRestaurant.com, the website where you can check out their entire menu. Of course, when it's Tuesday, you know that it's Taco Tuesday over at Humdinger's. That means the chicken and fish tacos, just $2 each. That's all day, each and every Tuesday that you can take advantage of that. But if you're not there for the tacos or if it's not Tuesday, so many great items on the menu that you can check out, from their great appetizers like the crispy calamari or the wings or the crab cakes, to their fantastic sandwiches like the po' boys or the Humdinger's chicken Philly or the piri piri burger. And then the entrees, of course, all the great grilled fish options, the crispy fish and chips, which they do a special on Fridays, and the crispy fish and chips that you can take advantage of as well. They've got a kids menu. They They've got great sides. They got all kinds of great stuff. Catering, it's a great thing if you've got a holiday party that you need catered. Certainly, Humdinger's is a great option when it comes to catering, and they've got information on catering, menus, all of that stuff that you can find on the website. You can order online on the website as well. If you want to go by and pick up some Humdingers, you can order right there on the website. Again, humdingersrestaurant.com. Each and every Tuesday, we give you that opportunity to win a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. All you got to do is be the first to answer our trivia question correctly. If you do so, well, then you'll get that $25 gift certificate. And you can answer by texting in on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255. That's the number to text in with your answers. And again, the first correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate. If you've won in the last 30 days, well, you are not eligible, and you only get one guess. So here is today's question. Last night on Monday Night Football, Jameis Winston, it was the full Jameis experience, 497 yards passing for the Cleveland Browns in their loss to the Denver Broncos. So just missed out on joining the 500-yard passing club. The question is, who has the most 500-yard passing games in NFL history? Which quarterback has thrown for 500 yards in a game the most in NFL history? 360-8255, 360-8255. Text in those answers. First correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. Which quarterback has thrown for 500 yards in a game the most times in NFL history?
Yeah, it was an incredible night. If you like scoring, if you like defensive scoring, if you like wild plays. So I took a chance yesterday. I just threw a little money down on a wild 5. It's a 6-leg bet. I had Denver. I had Denver minus 6.5, and that carried the day, 41-32. But I put 5 different guys to score touchdowns. I had a feeling it was going to be high scoring. I hit 4 of those touchdown makers, and the only one I didn't hit was Bo Nix, who has basically had a touchdown, it seems like every game. I thought it was paying like $650 for a $5 bet, and I thought I had it. And unfortunately, I think they had 2 short touchdown runs, and one was none of them were by Bo Nix. So I gave it a shot. I was on the right track as far as that being a crazy game. It ended up being that way. Denver goes to 8-5. I don't know how good Denver is, but they're 8-5. The Browns dropped to 3-9. But as you said, it was the full Jameis Winston experience. 34 of 58 for 497 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 2 of them were pick sixes. Nick Bonetto, Jaquan McMillan, each returned interceptions for touchdowns. Couple of interesting things. Afterwards, he said, now I'm paraphrasing, but because he likes to bring the Lord into the conversation, Jameis Winston, didn't he say something like, I'm praying that God will help me not throw pick sixes or something like that? To that effect?
I did not see what he said after the game.
Do you remember, Elijah? Something to that effect, like not throw pick sixes. And then Troy Aikman made a comment. He said, I wonder what the Brown season would have looked like if they had gone to Winston earlier. Well, obviously that is a hot topic. It's a touchy topic, a sore topic for fans with the whole Deshaun Watson debacle. But Jameis Winston is a fun player to watch. He can beat you, and then he can lose you a game. I don't know. They're better, I think, because Watson just has done nothing in Cleveland except get hurt and make a lot of money. So he'd be a better option. I don't know if he's the long-term answer, though, but I don't know who is. Because, again, he'll have a game where he plays brilliantly and then 2 games in a row where he throws a combined 5 or 6 interceptions. So I don't know how to gauge Jameis Winston.
Well, again, I mean, last night was a lot of what that Jameis is. I mean, he can do a lot of great things. I mean, he's got a great arm, and he can He can make some great throws that will blow your mind, and then he'll make some terrible throws that will also blow your mind. I mean, the pick six by McMillan that clinched the game in the final 2 minutes, it's a terrible throw. It's just an awful throw. The throw right before that on the 3rd and 14 or whatever it was a thing of beauty. Put right where you needed to put it. That's Jameis Winston. That's the experience you're going to get. But there's no doubt that their offense is way better, has been way better with Jameis Winston than what it was with Deshaun Watson. So there's not a question about that. What the whole season would have looked like with him, who knows as far as that is concerned. And where Jameis Winston ends up next year, because he's only on a 1-year deal. But I would think that there's a good chance that Jameis Winston finds a starting spot somewhere in the NFL next year based on what he has done so far for Cleveland this year. But, that the last interception, the final one, not that wasn't returned for the touchdown, but and the game was pretty much over anyway. But he threw that right to the guy. I don't even know what he was looking at. Like he just threw it right to a linebacker, like from 5 yards away, looked right at him and just threw it to him. Like I don't know how you don't see that guy standing there. But it's just that game was. I mean, I didn't get to start watching it until I got home from the Hustle game. I still felt like I went on I watched an entire. I was like exhausted. It was such a bizarre game of back and forth, and Denver's been one of the top defenses in the NFL. Cleveland, that's the one thing they have had is a good defense. 41-32 was not exactly what I would have possibly expected in a matchup of those two teams.
Well, like I said, I thought it was going to be wacky. I didn't look at the weather. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I didn't know if it was going to be like Buffalo the other night or it was going to be clear. But I thought here's a hunch. It's going to be a crazy game. And my gosh, I was that close. I mean, Bo Nix usually gets the touchdown. Didn't get the touchdown in this game. But it was an entertaining game to watch. No question about it. If you like scoring, if you like big plays, that's exactly what you got. But the Broncos, again, very quietly, 8-5 with a rookie quarterback. Pretty good.
Yeah, and he continues to play well.
He threw a couple picks, but
I still don't. I don't believe in Denver at all. I really don't. I just don't think they're that good. But they keep winning games.
Who do you believe in?
And they've been winning with defense. And then last night, now granted, they did get 2 pick sixes, so they contributed a lot as far as the scoring is concerned as well.
Right.
But I mean, they showed that they could. Last night, they win a shootout. Even when the defense gives up 32, they still find a way to win the game. So they are finding ways, one way or another, to win games, and there's certainly something to be said for that. Last night, Jerry Jeudy has the ultimate revenge game you can imagine.
I threw him in for a touchdown. I thought he would get one. Yeah.
Guard him to save their life. Many plays, it seemed like they chose literally not to guard him. And yet again, like I said, they make the plays offensively and defensively to go win a game.
Well, yesterday we did our NFL wrap up, and I do recall you talking about Pittsburgh saying that. Did you say you were a little stunned by what they're doing, or basically like you don't completely believe in them? Pittsburgh, right?
I don't think anybody thought Pittsburgh would be 9-3.
Right. A little bit of smoke and mirrors, but okay. So who do you buy into? What teams right now do you buy into that can win it all? And Elijah, if you want to jump in as well, give me your teams that you think right now can win it all. We're through 13 weeks of the NFL season.
The Detroit Lions.
The Lions.
I think are the best team. Without much doubt, I think they're the best team in the NFL. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs, although I'm not sure how they have managed to only lose one game with all of the games they've played. But
Houdini-like season so far.
Obviously, they can win it all.
Sure. They've proven it.
They've proven that. They got a guy at quarterback who tends to know what he's doing. Buffalo certainly has the ability to win it all. I still think Baltimore has the ability to win it all. I don't know, it's been a struggle at times, but I certainly think they have the ability to win it all.
Philly?
I think Philadelphia has the ability to win it all. I think the Chargers have the ability to win it all.
Do you? Think they win it all? That's 6.
With that defense, I think they can absolutely win it all.
With Harbaugh. Elijah, anybody that you would pull off that list or add?
I would say either the Vikings or the Packers. Who do you guys like more out of those two teams?
I think I like the Packers.
I like the Packers more. But I don't. And I think maybe the Packers.
Because we're not sold on Sam Darnold, right?
I can't get through Sam. I just can't believe Sam Darnold's going to go put together a run through the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. I just don't. I don't think that he's capable of that.
But that's pretty much it, right? Nobody believes in the Rams. The 49ers are beaten up. McCaffrey's now done for the year. I can't have any faith in them. There's really Denver, like you said. Even though they're 8-5, I don't buy them. Pittsburgh, I don't know. I don't think so.
The Texans. The Texans are good, but there's something not quite right now with them, and I don't know what it is, but something's not the way it was last year. It seems like they've had some injuries, things like that. But so I don't know what it is. But right now, I think the Texans could maybe put it together, but right now I don't believe that the Texans are capable of that.
Is anybody out on the Commanders? Everybody out on the Commanders?
I don't think to win at all.
I mean, part of and this applies to a Denver as well. Like a rookie quarterback, I'm just not going to believe in a rookie quarterback going to be able to make that run with what you have to go through on either side. I would find it hard to believe that one of these teams with the rookie quarterback could make that type of a run.
I'd love to see it. Friend of the show, Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Commanders, got a lot of friends in the Washington area root for them, so that would be nice. But no, I think it's about a half dozen. That's it. I think it's about 5 or 6 teams, maybe stretch it out to 7 that have a chance to win it all.
We do have a correct answer in our Humdingers trivia question. We actually have a lot of correct answers. Also have a lot of incorrect answers. For all those folks that guessed Peyton Manning never threw for 500 yards in a game.
Not surprised.
In the NFL. Eli Manning did, but Peyton Manning never got to the 500 yard mark. I'm not sure what his career high was. Lots of Tom Brady's. Tom Brady did throw for 500 yards. Tom Brady threw for 500 yards twice, one of them in the regular season, one in the playoffs. Drew Brees, he also threw for 500 yards twice in his career. But neither of those has the record for the most. The most, which is 4 overall, 3 times regular season and 1 postseason. That would be...
I have a guess. Throwing it out there. Favre.
No.
Okay.
Not sure if Brett Favre ever has. I'd have to check those. I don't think.
I just think of his wild games that he's played in.
No, it is Ben Roethlisberger.
Whoa.
Ben Roethlisberger. 3 regular season games, 1 playoff game, 4 times overall that he threw for over 500 yards in a game. So we do have a tie. Let's see here. I want to make sure. I think it's only 2, but I got to double check on one. This one came in. Yeah, it is only 2. Yes, only 2 that tied for that. All the others were after those original 2. So Elijah, let's go with Tweedledee or Tweedledum.
I think you've used that before.
Feeling Tweedledee on this fine morning.
All right, going Tweedledee. Okay, we will contact our winner and let you know how you're going to get your $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. If you did answer with Big Ben, but you don't hear from us, that means you were either not in time or you lost the tiebreaker.
Breaking news from the National Football League. Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, 3-game suspension for that hit he delivered Sunday on Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence.
Not a surprise. That is something that the league absolutely wants to get out of the game. And he apologized on social media and said it was not his intention whatsoever. It's never his intention. But whether it's your intention or not, you may not have intended it to be a dirty play. It was a dirty play. I mean, you cannot have those types of hits. There has to be a message sent that those types of hits will not be tolerated.
I assume there's an appeal process?
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Probably appeal and drop it to 2, possibly. If wedding bells are in your future, you need an unforgettable engagement ring from a jeweler you can trust. And that's been James Gaddis Jewelers for over 60 years. With a huge selection and the best prices, James Gaddis is a master jeweler and a diamondologist. Beautiful jewelry from James Gaddis is always the right choice. Choose from rings to earrings, necklaces to bracelets, gemstones to beautiful watches. Layaway and financing is available. The holiday season is upon us, the gift-giving time of the year. Think jewelry, think James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar, online at GaddisJewelers.com, and on Instagram at Gaddis Jewelers. Say I do at James Gaddis Jewelers. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Ready to take your business or personal credit to the next level? Ray Reynolds Financial Services has been helping millions of people build their financial futures for over 40 years. Ray Reynolds isn't just any expert. He helped the security chief of TRW that became Experian, one of the most trusted credit bureaus. He's the one you want to call to unlock the financial doors to your future. Ray personally guides you to help rebuild your personal credit, even as high as $750. Call Ray at 800-576-2295. Ray offers live webinars and workshops where you'll learn insider strategies to grow your personal and business credit, all from the man who's been shaping the industry for decades. Don't wait. Opportunities like this don't come around every day. Call 800-576-2295. 800-576-2295. Ray Reynolds Financial Services, the trusted name in credit for over 40 years. Call 800-576-2295.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous? Well, there's some things about the Rendezvous I'm going to talk about. For example, we make it really easy to park. We have valet parking right at Monroe Street in our alley. We also want to make it easy for people to get to doors. You can now park in our alley right at our front door and put your flashers on. People also forget that we take reservations for 6 or more. And we have a wonderful party room upstairs that can accommodate people for rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations. Our rooms seat between 25 and 275 people. And everything at the Rendezvous can be packed to go. But we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the Rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear. Please listen carefully for our menu has changed. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for catering, or if you know your party's 9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of the mother's maiden name, dial it back. Come see us at the Rendezvous. Since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I saw this fun fact yesterday about Joe Burrow. He's the 6th quarterback in NFL history to have 30 touchdowns and 5 interceptions through his team's first 12 games. 30 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes he did the same. Their team was 11-1. Drew Brees did it. His team was 10-2. Aaron Rodgers did it twice. 9-3, 12-0. Tom Brady did it. 12-0. Joe Burrow, his team 4-8. Again, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions through 12 games. 6th quarterback in NFL history to do so. And the other 5, all their teams were kicking tail. The Bengals are 4-8. Just tells you how putrid that defense is, and they're not getting enough around him. I mean, offensively, they got to do a better job running the ball. They got Jamar Chase, obviously. They got T. Higgins. But defensively, they're sieves. 4-8.
Yeah, defensively they are awful. There's no doubt about that. And when they've had opportunities in close games, either they haven't offensively been able to put together the drive they needed, or they haven't been able to get the stop they needed. They play a lot of close games and just haven't seemed to be able to win really any of them. But to give up 44 to the Steelers is really pathetic, quite frankly. Like if you're going to lose the Steelers, you shouldn't be giving up 44 points to that Steelers team. You scored 38 against the Steelers, you should win the game.
Yeah, good for Arthur Smith. I mean, continues to put up points with that offense. Again, not expected to be one of the most high-powered offenses going into the season. They continue to surprise a bit the whole quarterback situation. Justin Fields, to begin the year, Russell Wilson was hurt. People thought it was a mistake to go to Wilson. It is not, and that's why Mike Tomlin is Mike Tomlin. And here they are scoring a bunch of points, and Arthur Smith's name certainly has come up for that North Carolina job. And whether or not he's interested in going to his alma mater and coaching them, we'll find out sooner than later. These teams that have openings now have to make moves pretty quickly. And I guess it will all depend on who they're looking at. Very tough to get coaches right now that are coaching teams that are going into the college football playoff, or whether you're looking at a coordinator or even NFL personnel.
I don't know how I guess unless you were basically just going to kind of sacrifice a year, I don't know how you as a college team could wait for anybody out of the NFL.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it puts you behind the eight ball. Really behind the eight ball. With recruiting, with the portal.
Especially if it's somebody in the NFL that is on a team that's in the playoffs. I mean, you're talking about you wouldn't get that coach until basically the actual signing day in February would be about the time you're getting that coach. So you're basically sacrificing a year's worth of recruiting and just going into it with, okay, we're giving up a year to get this guy.
Well, like you said earlier, most of the coaching changes that have been made to this point are group of five, but you have North Carolina, you have UCF, you have Purdue, you have West Virginia, and some of them are good. Some of those jobs aren't great, but some of them are pretty good. North Carolina, I think, is a good job. West Virginia is a good job. I think UCF now is a good job. But you have these group of fives, and they are acting quickly, especially all the moves that have been made in the American. You've already had the East Carolina interim elevated to head coach. Temple, we talked about yesterday, got their man. Now Florida Atlantic has their coach in Kitley. So they're moving very quick with that. From the world of baseball is always trying to adjust and change rules and add things and all that. I don't know why they have to make so many changes, but it seems like every offseason they're looking at making changes. One thing's replay and using modern technology. The other thing is changing the actual essence of the game. Have you read about this? It's nothing that has been approved yet or voted upon, and I'm not even sure if they will vote upon it, but it's being talked about. The golden at-bat.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you out there that don't know what I'm talking about, the golden at-bat rule would allow teams to choose one at-bat in every game to use its best hitter regardless of where that team is in its lineup. That has been discussed. That rule has been discussed. It's not a pinch hitter. It's just at any time, one time per game, you can use whoever you want, who you elect to. So what would happen if a player was on base? They get a pinch runner and then bring him back to hit?
Well, there's a lot of stuff, and I don't think this will ever even come close to happening.
It's stupid.
But we
already have the Golden Bachelor. We don't.
There would be a lot of things that have to be figured out about how things happen after that is used. Because if the guy, if you basically bump a guy up one spot in the order and he hits, does he then hit again? Does he bat twice in a row?
Right.
If a guy is on base and you want to use him, they've taught there's. Is it available the entire game, or is it only available in late inning situations? Maybe it's only the team trailing that can use it. So there's a million different things. Again, I can't imagine it ever even gets anywhere close to being enacted, but I don't have a problem with baseball trying to find things to see if it can make its game better.
As long as you don't junk it up. Yeah, if you're making improvements to the game, that's fine. But you don't have to do something every single year. Don't junk it up. That's junking it up right there. The runner on second base, that's junking it up.
I don't think that is. I think the guy at second base is a smart thing to do because we don't need 18-inning, 6-hour games during the regular season. People freak out about a lot of different things, and then when they happen, and it's like, okay, actually, it's fine, and it's working just fine, and there's no problem. So, again, I just don't think that thing would work because I think there's way too many problems with it. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't think it could ever get there, but I don't have a problem with Major League Baseball looking and saying, okay, what are things, thinking outside the box of things to try and make the game more interesting if they can.
Hey, if I'm buying a ticket and they play 13 innings, I'm all for it. I remember as a kid, I didn't want to leave. I mean, this was so huge to be at a Major League stadium watching Major League Baseball players. I didn't want it to end. I don't care if it goes 13, 14 innings. Now, if I'm covering the game from a professional standpoint, from a reporter / broadcaster or whatever, yeah, I don't want the game to go on forever. I don't want it to linger. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the runner on second base. I'm not a big fan of the 2-pointers that we have now in college football after the second series. Does it slow things down? Does it end games earlier? Well, we had an 8-overtime game the other night with Georgia and Georgia Tech. Not necessarily. But a golden at bat, come on now. That's crazy. All right, so the Grizzlies and the Mavs tonight. That's the Emirates NBA Cup group play. As you mentioned earlier, a lot of things have to happen for Memphis to advance. First of all, they have to win by 24, was it?
Yes, 24 or more.
Do we know the injury report yet for the game as far as the Mavericks are concerned? I assume the Grizzlies are in the same position, healthy with the exception of Edie, Gigi, and Vince Williams.
Let's see if I can get the Mavericks.
Yeah, Kyrie didn't play the other night, and Luka had been out, but Luka's playing. So this will be the first Luka-Ja matchup in quite some time. A couple of years. Because one or the other has been hurt or suspended. Dallas has been a little bit hot and cold this year. They're still sitting at 13-8. Last year made the great run, made that big trade before the trade deadline to get the bigs in that they got, including Gafford. And they went on the run. Went to the NBA Final, lost to the Celtics. This year, expected to be one of the top 2 or 3 in the conference. Right now, the Grizzlies sit 1.5 games behind Oklahoma City, sitting in third at 14-7. And again, doing so without a complete roster, mixing and matching. It's not like they've had Ja for every game. They haven't had Dez for every game. And they got guys right now on the shelf who are absolute contributors, which to me, you got to applaud not only those players, but that coaching staff, because they also installed a new offense. And even though it may have been rocky a little bit at the beginning, the first few games, boy, they got really acclimated to it.
Looks like Derek Lively's questionable. Klay Thompson is questionable.
Okay, so you're going to see Kyrie and you're going to see Luka.
From what I see here on, I don't have their official injury report in front of me, but that is from their announcer, Mark Followill, has said that both of those are listed, and then Najee Marshall is out for tonight's game. So there you go. That's what it looks like as far as they are concerned. So I would guess you would see those other guys in action. Folks, if you got a move coming up, you want to make sure you get the professionals, the experts, the right people, and that would be Black Tie Moving. They'll take good care of you, take good care of your belongings, making sure they're getting where they're going without any problems, without any issues, making sure it is a successful move without any stress and without any worry on your part. All you got to do is talk to the folks at Black Tie at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Talk with them. They come up with a plan working with you for your move that fits both your needs. That's important, and fits your budget as well. And you will get a no obligation quote up front from Black Tie Moving. During the move, they're available 24/7 to answer any questions that may come up. So you have that peace of mind knowing that anything that comes up, you're always going to be able to get a hold of somebody from Black Tie Moving. They'll do as much or really as little as you need them to do, want them to do. Again, that's what they do. They're going to work with you on that plan for your move, fitting exactly what you want and what you need from them. Black Tie Moving, 901-316-6196, or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis.
When we come back, we open up hour number 3 talking to the head coach of the Mace High School football team getting ready for their state championship game on Friday. We'll talk with Cedric Miller. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mix. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand bottled, taste tested, sent out to a few friends, and taste tested again because you need the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof, crafted and savored responsibly.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sport luxury. Test drive one in Jaguar Land Rover, Bluff City.
There's no gift that's more beautiful, more personal, and more meaningful than peace. Just to show us this is
Good morning. They're still trying to sort out a couple of ranks we had out here a little bit earlier now. There's still some volume over here coming down the interstate on 40 westbound from Germantown Parkway to Sycamore View Road. It's just now actually starting to load up with a little bit more volume on Bill Morris Parkway inbound as you approach Ridgeway. They're getting on that ramp to 240. Still looks good coming up from the south, at least for now, on 55 northbound up through South Haven all the way to Brooks and Elvis Presley. Shop now and save during this holiday season at Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 75 I-25, Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:04 the time. Final hour for us today here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seekers with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. They're located at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 30 degrees. We'll only get up to 41. That's it. Sunshine, but cold today. Then tonight, your overnight lows into Wednesday morning, 30 degrees. Your high for Wednesday at 52 with some sun and a few clouds as well. Third hour of the program is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More, located at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, Mississippi. A hop, skip, and a jump from anywhere in the Memphis metropolitan area. Family-owned and operated local business that specializes in flooring and carpeting. If it's variety you're looking for, they have it for you. Ceramic and porcelain tiles, SPC and WPC vinyls, which are scratch-resistant, waterproof, top-of-the-line material. Hardwoods by Portercraft. Carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet. They got backsplashes, plantation shutters and blinds, and so much more. And they sell it wholesale. Skip the middleman, going to save you lots of money in the process, whether you do it yourself or whether you have experts do it for you. For contractors out there, it just makes sense to buy from Jenkins. But also, if you want the job done by Jenkins, they can do it for you with an unheard of 2-week turnaround. They'll come to you and give you a free estimate no matter where you are. So just call them or stop by. 662-469-9350. They're open Monday through Saturday. Or go visit them at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. They also have stores in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's Jenkins Floors and More, third-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. Well, this week's going to be a big one in Chattanooga for Memphis area high school football teams. 3 teams won their semifinal games last week and have advanced to the state championship games in their respective classes. And that includes Mace, with an unbelievable come-from-behind win to win their semifinal game, knocking off Mackenzie 40-34. Mace advances to Friday's 2 o'clock championship game in Class 1A in Chattanooga, where they'll take on South Pittsburgh. It is our pleasure to be joined by a good friend, Cedric Miller, who's done an outstanding job coaching in the area for several different schools and now doing his thing at Mace, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Coach, first of all, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on what has been an unbelievable season to this point.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, and it has been an unbelievable season.
Last week, you guys were down, let me see, I wrote it down a couple of different times. You're down 27-6. You're down 34-18. You talk about perseverance and never quitting. I mean, you guys, it seemed like nobody thought it's over, and you made this unbelievable comeback. Talk about that, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, these young gentlemen have put in the hard work all year, all season, that we faced adversity a couple of times this year in some earlier games this year, and we just talked about playing in the moment, one moment at a time, one play at a time, and one thing I will say that kind of broke it back open when they scored the last touchdown to make it 34-12. They kicked the ball to us, and Deontay Jones took it 75 yards to the house, and it was 34-18. I said, gentlemen, we got a chance now. We come down and stop them. They snap the ball over the punter's head. We get the ball on the 2-yard line. Our quarterback, Brody Wilker, goes in, makes it 26. We got 2-point conversion, so that makes it 34-26. They get the ball back again. 3 downs, 3rd and 17. The guy rolls out, tries to throw a long bomb. We tip it and pick it off in the air. 3 plays later, we hit Cadence Nelson for a 34-yard touchdown to tie the ball game with a 2-point conversion. and then it's like a minute and something left. I thought they were going to try to go to overtime, but they were trying to score, and the guy ended up throwing another pick. And then we get the ball on the 31. 2 plays later, quarterback hits Christopher Watson on the 11-yard slant pass, and we go up 40-34. So the guys never quit. The guys never were rattled or shaky. They said, "Coach, we're going to get this back." And, that's what we've been preaching all year.
So even when they were down 34-12, they weren't. It wasn't any hanging the head or anything like that. You didn't have to kind of rally them together to kind of give them. They were into it still at that time.
We went into halftime and we just said we got to execute. We said we probably played the worst first half we played all year, and we gave them a couple of touchdowns with some busted coverages. I give Coach Hodge and McKenzie credit. He came up with a great scheme. We run a lot of man, so they ran a lot of rub routes, and we turned some guys loose. But at halftime, we fixed that. And all we told them was once we get to clicking on offense, we're pretty well oiled machine. And once Brody and the receivers got on the same page, I mean, just like clockwork, just like we do in practice, went down, run our plays, and they made the plays when the ball came their way.
You mentioned Brody Whitaker, your quarterback, 17 of 31, 267, 4 touchdowns, and 3 touchdowns in the final 4 minutes. For those people out there listening that don't know much about Brody, tell us a little bit about him.
Brody Whitaker, man, he's a gamer. He's a leader. He threw a couple of interceptions in the first half, but I didn't say anything to him. I just said next play. He doesn't get down on himself. He just keeps going. And, as anybody knows, when your quarterback is headstrong and has confidence, that breeds confidence into your team on your offense because he's an extension of the head coach. So I didn't get rattled. I didn't fuss at him. I just said, man, that's over with. Let's go to the next play. We'll get it back. And like I said, the second half, it seemed like the light switch just came on. And, he started making plays and started making plays with his legs and started making plays with the arm. And the plays that we missed in the first half, we hit them. I mean, we had wide open opportunities in the first half, but we just wasn't in sync at that time because the first drive, we were driving the ball, and one of their players got hurt. I think he tore his knee up or broke his fibula. So that was like a 30 or 40-minute delay. So once we got back on the field, we were flat. It threw us off rhythm. So we were out of sync. But we went back in at halftime, had a conversation. We came back out the second half. Whole different ball club. It looked like the team that had been playing in the first 3 weeks of the playoffs instead of the first half of the McKenzie game.
So what's it mean for you, for your program to be heading to Chattanooga, your first chance to play for a state championship?
It means a lot, man. It means a lot for these young men and for the Mace community. Only being a program that's been up and running since 2017. Mm-hmm. So to have made the strides that we have made in the last 3 years since I've been here is tremendous. It speaks volumes about the kind of student athletes we have here, the administration we have here, and the kind of program that we're putting together over here. These seniors that are on this team were the 9th grade class of the Mars school that closed. So just these guys are seniors that came on over. So they understand what it is. They've been to the playoffs. They've made it to the semifinals once. They made it to the third round. So these guys have been there before. And I think these guys in almost 4 years have only experienced loss maybe 5 times in their 4-year career. So they understand the kind of tradition that we're trying to create and the kind of culture that we're trying to develop over here at Mace.
Well, it also speaks volumes about you, Coach, and what you bring to the institution. What was the determining factor why you decided to go to Mace in the first place? Obviously, you thought you can get to championship games and have big moments like you've had so far and hopefully we'll have on Friday.
Well, Roger Gaston, my former teammate at the University of Memphis, is the executive director over here. I had several other opportunities to go some other places at the time when Mars closed, but I like a challenge. Mm-hmm. The program was going well, but it wasn't where Mr. Gaston wanted it. So I like I said, I like taking challenges. I took Mars as a challenge when I left there, and I decided to take the Mace job as a challenge to go in and, again, prove that you don't have to be at such a big school to make things happen and put kids in school and make sure that, and then, this charter school deserves to be where it needs to be because the academics are great over here. The only thing was missing just a great athletic program to put these guys on the map to ensure that we are making strides in the right direction to represent this charter school across the state.
By the way, tell Roger I love his last name. It just works perfectly. We're probably brothers from a different mother, but that's fantastic.
What's the scouting report on South Pittsburgh?
The report I have from the scouting that I've had, they're young. We did press conference yesterday. The coach didn't expect them to be there this year. He thought they were a year away. But they caught fire at the end of the season. And, they have a three-headed monster. They run the ball well. The quarterback is a runner. Number 3 and number 4, I think they got 2 kids that's up for Mr. Football finalists or semifinalists in 1A. So that speaks volume about what they do. Coach Stone does a great job at South Pitt with the program. They play hard-nosed football. And, we were looking forward to the challenge because this is something we've been working for the last 3 years. So, we've been knocking on the door, but finally we kicked the door in. So we just want to go down here and represent Memphis and bring them back the gold ball back to Memphis, man. South Pittsburgh is just one of the teams that's in the way for us accomplishing our goal.
Well, it's the cliche. You want to be, the cliche is that you want to be peaking at the right time, and you guys are peaking, but so is South Pitt. So you got 2 teams that are playing their best football right now, and that's the way it should be, meeting in the championship game, right?
Yes, that's the way it's supposed to be. And like I said, we have a balanced offense. So, I don't know what they're going to scheme for, but I think the last 2 games, they're probably going to be trying to scheme to stop us from passing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a balanced attack. We're able to run and pass. That's the thing that makes us dangerous this year and have been all season. But, Pittsburgh, South Pitt, really, they want to run it. They don't really have a great passing game, so it's a challenge for us. Keith Gentry just sent me our stats from the season this year, and I think we've been in total of the 14 games we've played. I think we've only give up 29.2 yards rushing the game, and we give up 79.2 passes. So it's 101 yards per game that we're giving up total defense. So stopping the run is one of our fortes. So it's a great challenge to continue the great defense that we've been playing and stopping the run because, when we played Union City, everybody knows Union City is a power run team.
Mm-hmm.
And, we held Union City to under 50 yards total offense that night and when we beat them 42-0. So I think these guys are going to be up for the challenge. We're challenging them to understand what it is and the magnitude of this game and what it can represent for us here at Mace. And I'm just looking forward to a great game.
Who are some of the top players on that defensive side of the ball for you?
You have Stanley Burrow, who's a 2-time All-State linebacker. You have Akeem Hunt, who's his running mate right beside him. He's a sophomore. Both of them had 100-plus tackles this year. Stanley was the All-Zone Liberty Bowl Defensive Player of the Year. Then you have Christopher Watson. You have Cadence Nelson. You have Jamarcus Pittman, who's a 6'5", 310-pound sophomore D tackle. You name it, man. We got a lot of young guys that are contributing early, and we'll be back for a couple of years here at Mace. So, this is just a new beginning. We're trying to build something here. This is, and what I told my kids, this is our 1A farewell tour because we're going to 2A next year. So
that's right.
We're just trying to make it last forever. As we leave 1A, we want to exit on top and going back into 2A.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your thoughts on the Memphis Tigers, and of course Cam, part of that team, and the great run that they've made this year. Unfortunately, come up short getting to the conference championship, but to see this team win 10 games for a second straight year and now get ready for a bowl game, what's it been like? Have you been able to keep an eye on them?
Oh, yeah, I've been able to keep an eye on them. I haven't been able to get to as many games as I like, these late nights on Friday. Sometimes I just want to lay in the bed, but Coach Silverfield has done a great job, and his staff has done a great job with back-to-back 10-win seasons. It's something that has not been done in school history. Just to see how the program has continued to evolve and make big strides and continue to represent Memphis in the way they have, it just speaks volume about what Coach Silverfield and his staff is doing over there. And I'm excited to see wherever bowl game they're going, I would be able to go to the bowl game because this is our last week of football, so I'll make sure I'll be able to go to the bowl game and sit down and watch my Tigers play.
Especially if it's warm, and it should be.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, I'm hearing it might be a warm place where we might be going.
Exactly. Do you have any idea if Memphis is in on any of your guys?
I think they're in on a couple of my sophomores and a couple of my juniors. I have some seniors that are probably going to go some other places. I don't think some of them might not be at that level, but they're good players. I think some of them will be in the SWAC or a mid-major like UT Martin, but they're in on my young guys. The young guys are my studs, and they are the ones that, when you look at it Friday night, the three guys that made the big plays, the three interceptions in the fourth quarter were my sophomores.
Wow.
Cadis Nelson came up with one. Akeem Hunt came up with one, the linebacker, and the Andrew Branch. So what I'm saying is the future is bright over here in Mason. Those young guys have been playing ball for us. They started for me as freshmen, so they already have playoff experience, and they understand what it is, the standard is to come in. And, we don't have a problem playing young guys. If you can play, you can play.
Exactly.
So those guys have been leaders from the day one since they walked on campus.
When are you guys heading out to Chattanooga?
We leave tomorrow morning at 12. We'll get up there around we'll stop in Nashville and eat, and then we'll head to Chattanooga Baylor and practice there from 6 to 8. And then we'll go check into our hotel, and then we'll get these guys settled in, and then we'll practice again at Baylor Thursday morning, and we'll go support them Thursday night, and get back to the hotel, get some rest, and get ready to roll on Friday morning at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. in Chattanooga. It's Mace at 12-1, South Pitt at 12-2 for the 1A state championship. Coach, it's always great to catch up with you. Best of luck to you. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much, and happy holidays to you.
Thank you, guys, and happy holidays to you, too. All right.
So I had never heard of South Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
Yeah, I saw South Pitt, and I was like, that's got to be short for Pittsburgh, right? And I look it up, and there it is. Lo and behold, I've been here forever, and I had never heard of it.
The website for South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, says, have you ever tasted good cornbread right out of the stove cooked in a cast iron skillet? Chances are the cast iron skillet was manufactured here in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee by Lodge Manufacturing.
How about that?
Or could it be that the stove was made here also by U.S. Stove Company? So there you go. You got Lodge Manufacturing and U.S. Stove Company, both in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Go check them out today.
I wonder if South Pitt wears the Steelers colors. I mean, they're doing stoves, they're doing steel, they're South Pittsburgh. I don't know, maybe the colors are Steelers colors, black and gold.
South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, like Pittsburgh, Kansas. No H on the end.
Yeah, spelled differently, you're right.
You got to have it's just the G on the Pittsburgh.
By the way, tomorrow at 8:05, we're going to talk with Jarrett Morrow. He's one of the co-head coaches, him and his twin brother, of the Melrose Golden Wildcats as they get set for their state championship game this weekend. That'll be tomorrow at 8:05.
South Pittsburgh is nestled in the foothills of the South Cumberland Mountains on the banks of the Tennessee River. Makes me want to visit.
You've painted a beautiful picture.
Makes me want to visit right there. They got a short trip. Over to Chattanooga.
Yes, they do.
Mace has a long trip. They've got a short trip to Chattanooga for that game coming up on Friday, but good luck to the folks over at Mace. I'm very happy to have back as one of our great sponsors, one of my favorite places to eat in this city, and that would be Elwood's Shack.
Indeed.
2 locations. You may not know. I don't know. You may not even know. They've got the second location out on Park Avenue right there across the street from the U of M. Of course, they've got the original location, 4523 Summer Avenue, right there in the Lowe's parking lot over off Summer and Perkins. The new location, it's 4040 Park Avenue. Both locations. And the new location, compared to the old, is huge. I mean, it is a massive, massive place, the new one. So plenty of room for plenty of seating in there. They've got the same menu at both places. Plus, at the new location, they've got a lot more. They've got a real coffee bar serving Jay Brooks fresh coffee beans, roasted weekly. They currently serve the Spirit of Memphis coffee bean from Jay Brooks, so the local stuff that they've got there. But if you're coffee drinkers, go check out the coffee bar. They serve breakfast at both locations. You may not know that, too. They serve breakfast at both locations from 7 a.m. until 10:30, Monday through Saturday. They're open at 8 a.m. on Sunday. And on Saturday and Sunday, they have an additional brunch menu as well. They're the home of the barbecue breakfast burrito. They're the only restaurant in Memphis offering barbecue for breakfast. You can get either barbecue brisket or pork shoulder, stuffed with egg, cheddar cheese, jalapenos, onions, potatoes, tomatoes, and their house-made barbecue sauce. They've got cat head biscuits made fresh daily. The fried chicken biscuit is one of the favorites over there. Sausage, egg, and cheese. You can get the house-made pepper gravy. They've got a great, great breakfast menu over at Elwood Shack, along with the classics on their lunch and dinner menu. I've always been a big fan of the fish tacos. I love the brisket, Philly brisket wrap that they have over there. Absolutely fantastic. Some of my favorites. Great burgers, the barbecue ribs. It's just a lot of great food, and it's the decor at both places is just cool. It's eclectic, and it's a weird collection at times, but some interesting stuff that you'll see at both places. But Elwood Shack, again, the original 4523 Summer Avenue in the Lowe's parking lot, and then the newer location, that's 4040 Park Avenue, right across the street from the U of M for Elwood's Shack.
There's a lot of lobbying going on for the playoff committee to think about. We'll tell you about that when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Indulge yourself or your loved ones this season with a trip to Sissy's Log Cabin. Here, you can shop our expansive selection of designer brands, one-of-a-kind jewelry, and spectacular statement pieces, all while enjoying the Sissy's promise of unmatched quality, service, and brilliant natural values. Stop by any location or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com to find your trusted jeweler for holiday memories that will last a lifetime. Make a statement this season only at Sissy's Log Cabin.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Let me guess, you're going to recommend that everyone get their holiday meal from Central Barbecue.
No, although it's a great idea, get everybody some fantastic Central Barbecue and not have to do any of the work, but that is not what this spot is about.
It's not?
No, this is about another way Central Barbecue can save you time and trouble.
Ah, Central Barbecue gift cards.
That's right. You don't have to fight the holiday gift shoppers when you could just go online and order up a handful of Central Barbecue gift cards.
No one has ever turned up their nose at getting the best barbecue in Memphis.
In the world.
In the world for free.
This hour brought to you by James Flores and once again by Greg
Welcome back, everyone. 9:28 is the time. Final half hour and change here on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. We've talked a lot about the Tigers and both the football and basketball programs. The Grizzlies in action tonight. If you want to chime in, plenty of time. We have an open next 30 minutes, 360-8255, 901-360-8255. Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines available to you via phone calls or texts. If you missed any of our interviews, you can always check out the podcast. It's on the website, Sports 56. That's sportsmemphis.com. And you can listen at your leisure. We break it down hourly. We also have some of the interviews, including the Nolan Smith interview. We'll put that up there in featured audio, so you can listen to the former star at Duke, now Memphis Tiger assistant coach, who was with us in our second hour, Connor O'Gara, on the college football playoffs and what he thinks is going to happen tonight with the committee's rankings unveiled. We just spoke with Cedric Miller, the head coach of the Mace football team. They're getting ready for their state championship game on Friday.
We got somebody texted in on the Sicily Log Cabin list line that said that South Pittsburgh, that is where Sweetens Cove is. So now I do want to, and I definitely want to visit.
That's the golf course, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to visit South Pittsburgh at some point for sure because, yes, I love that opportunity. But I did not realize that is actually where Sweetens Cove is in South Pittsburgh. Learning a lot about South Pittsburgh. South Pittsburgh sounds like a great place to visit.
Yeah.
South Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
And you might want to live there.
I don't know about South Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm not sure what the south part of Pittsburgh is like.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not been to Pittsburgh proper, like in the city. I've been around Pittsburgh. There's a lot of tunnels, a lot of mountains that they built into the mountains, but it looks beautiful when you watch a Pirates game on TV with the three rivers all coming together. Just looks absolutely beautiful.
But the area around the stadiums, I've been to a Steelers game there, and that area is kind of cool. But I don't know what South Pittsburgh is like.
And
I've never been to Pittsburgh, Kansas, so I don't know what South Pittsburgh, Kansas is like either.
No, I've been to Manhattan, Kansas.
The Gorillas, though, the Pittsburgh State Gorillas.
That's right. I don't know if you were here or already on your way to San Diego. Did I tell you that I went to Paris Landing? Have you been to Paris Landing Golf Course?
I have never been to Paris Landing, no.
Had a great time there. It's really, really nice. That's a beautiful little area. Very rural up there with all those small towns. In fact, McKenzie might be up there, who Mace just beat. I'm a little confused with the geography, but I think I might have went through that, Milan, all those little towns up there. But really had a good time. Nice course, Paris Landing, one of the state courses in the state of Tennessee. But yeah, the one you just mentioned, I've heard an awful lot about that one. All right, so tonight, the college football playoff rankings will come out. And right now, you have a lot of talk because each coach or AD, whoever it is that's speaking out, is trying to get some last-minute material out there just in case any of the committee members happen to want to read this stuff. I think they have all the information in front of them. They don't need to be listening to people. But they're basically going right now on a lobby mission to lobby their case. So this is funny. So here you go. Here's a little sample of what's going on. This is Dan Radakovich. He's the athletics director at the University of Miami. Sensational college football playoff-worthy season for Canes football. 10-2, number 1 in scoring and total offense, 11th in FPI, 7 wins versus P4 teams, 3-0 versus teams in top 30 of strength ranking, 6-2 record versus bowl-eligible teams, 4-2 on the road, 2 losses by a combined 9 points. Pretty good case, right? Shane Beamer, head coach of South Carolina. We got 3 losses. I understand that. But it's hard for me to sit there and say that we're not one of the 12 best teams in the country. I don't know of any team that would be excited about having to play this team. Shane Beamer on South Carolina's case to make the playoff, as well as having won 6 straight games. Greg Byrne, who's the AD at Alabama. Here's a good look at the number/rankings for Alabama football. Recognize there's a lot of chatter out there about 2 versus 3 loss teams. However, that is just one factor. When you look at the college football playoff principles for its selection committee, the first bullet point on the list of considerations is strength of schedule. Not all schedules and conferences are created equal. We've worked diligently to add more challenging non-conference home and homes, which is good for college football, not to mention the week in and week out of the SEC and it being the toughest in the country. And then finally, Lane Kiffin. Okay, let's see where it starts here. We got South Carolina lost to both Ole Miss and Alabama, and their best win is against Clemson. Ole Miss and Alabama, best win is against Georgia. It says, let me make sure this is Lane Kiffin. Yeah, it's Lane Kiffin. Safe to say that South Carolina is out, and it's between Ole Miss and Alabama. Ole Miss has 9 wins, outscoring their opponents 390 to 94. That's plus 296. Alabama has 9 wins, outscoring their opponents 371 to 119. That's plus 252. In the 3 losses, Ole Miss was outscored 73-60. He may just be retweeting, because why would you put things that are negative? But anyway, in the 3 losses, Ole Miss was outscored 73-60, minus 13. In the 3 losses, Alabama was outscored 88-55, minus 33. Common opponents. Both beat Georgia. Yeah, he's retweeting this. Rebs won by 18, Bama won by 7. Both beat South Carolina. Rebs won by 24, Bama won by 2. Alabama beat LSU by 29. Ole Miss lost to LSU by 3 in overtime. Ole Miss beat Oklahoma by 12. Alabama lost to Oklahoma by 21. Clearly, Ole Miss should be in the playoff over Alabama. So again, let me correct myself. That's not Lane's tweet. That's a retweet from Lane as somebody was making the case for Ole Miss versus Alabama versus South Carolina. So that's what you got going on right now. A lot of lobbying. And we thought maybe when we'd go to a 12-team playoff, well, that would settle a lot of things. It's not a 14 playoff. It's 3 times as many. Well, then you got the 13th team that'll be arguing and the 14th team. And then when you go to the 16-team playoff, there'll be the 17th and the 18th and so on and so forth.
Well, yeah, I mean, no matter how many teams you put in anything, there's going to be the ones that are on the borderline and get left on the bad side of it are going to argue that they should be in. And all of those teams have to lobby right now because they can't do anything else. They're not playing in a conference championship game to prove anything. They are done on the field in order and trying to earn that spot. And there is, I think there is an argument to be made for all of them. I think there are valid arguments to include
I agree.
Any one of them as the last team in right now. But there's also arguments against every one of those teams. And in the end, whoever is left out, I don't like it just regardless of who that is and how much complaining or whatever they might want to do, you had into the playoff. I mean, in the case of Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina, you got 3 losses, for goodness sake. Like, all you had to do was win one of those 3 games. Win one of those 3, you're in. Any one of those with 2 losses would be in all likelihood. So I'm not going to feel sorry for you. I think you got screwed. You had plenty of opportunity to earn your way in. Miami, only 2 losses. That's kind of their argument because if you look at the wins, they're not really there. I mean, you could probably make a case that their best win is a middle of the pack Florida team from the SEC. And that was a different Florida team that they played way back to start the year. So, but they just their thing is we only got 2 losses, they've got 3, and that makes sense. They didn't lose as many. So I don't know. Like I'll be interested to see tonight. I want to see where Ohio State falls to. That to me is the biggest thing. I just want to see how far they will slide them down, and then what order they put those 3-loss SEC teams and Miami at the back end there to kind of see who they right now think is the leader to get that last spot if SMU wins and presumably knocks Clemson out.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of things that factor in. Obviously, head-to-head, in my opinion, is the most important if the record is the same. But I also don't believe just because you have 2 losses necessarily means that you're a better team than one that has 3 losses. But how do you gauge that? Certainly that's not going to help you having one more loss. But I do believe that in my heart of hearts that you can make an argument that a 3-loss team, not in general terms, but if we're talking about specific teams, that you can argue a 3-loss team is better than a 2-loss team. Georgia is getting in no matter what. But if they lose the SEC championship game, that gives them 3 losses. Do I think they're better than a 2-loss Miami team? Yes, I do. I'm not saying that Miami doesn't deserve to get in, but I still think there are times when a 3-loss team is better than a 2-loss team, or even a 2-loss team is better than a 1-loss team. So I can't just gauge it on wins and losses, although that's the most important thing, but it's only one of the criteria. Head-to-head, obviously, is important. South Carolina in a 3-team rumble, they've played each other. And now Ole Miss didn't play Alabama, but Ole Miss played South Carolina and Alabama played South Carolina. And they both beat South Carolina. I understand teams that are hot, but it has to be the overall resume. The game in week 2 has to mean as much as the game in week 12. But how do you also compare a team from the Big Ten and a team from the SEC, or a team from the ACC and a team from the SEC? The one conference, the major conferences, the power conferences that is getting walked over is the Big 12. And who's to say that they don't really have, or who's to say that they don't have a really good conference? It's just that their parity showed up in droves. I mean, you have teams with 3 losses, a bunch of them. Now, we look at the SEC with the 3-loss teams, and we don't say they're bad. We say they're good. Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. But we look at the 3-loss teams in the Big 12, and we all of a sudden just knock them out of the picture. Again, who's to say? That's why I think the statement I made with Conor O'Gara, that you are better off in these 4 power conferences and their scenarios to be top-heavy with 3 or 4 incredibly good teams rather than to have 10 or 12 that are all good with a couple bottom feeders. I think it hurt the SEC, but I still believe, and again, Clemson, they control their own destiny. I still believe that SMU will get in. I think they deserve to get in if they lose. But who knows? Maybe the committee will pass them over. But if that's the case and they don't, and they give them an at-large, Clemson gets in with the AQ from the ACC. Is it going to be Miami, a 3rd ACC team, to match the SEC? Or is it going to be one of those SEC teams? I would still bet that Alabama is put ahead of Miami if that scenario happens. I would still bet on it. I've said 4 teams all along. I'm not going to change my mind. It's looking like 3 now for the SEC. But I would still think that they would get the benefit of the doubt, even if Miami deserves it, because it's close. Like you said, you can make a case for all 4 of them.
The other thing, too, this is kind of why I'm interested to see how far Ohio State falls after taking the terrible loss. If they stay top 8, if Penn State loses the Big Ten championship game, weather could be a big part of that first round of the playoffs. You could easily have Ohio State, Penn State, and Notre Dame all hosting first-round games. In the middle of December, can get a little dicey, especially for, say, a Miami or a Georgia or some of these teams going up there to play in the middle of December in some of those places. You don't know what kind of weather you might run into, and that could play a big part, and you might have a lot of cold weather hosting going on.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, I don't buy Penn State. I just don't. I don't think they're that great a football team. I think they're a very solid football team. I don't buy into them. I think even if they host, well, it depends on who they're playing, but I think for the most part, the teams that are going to be in, I think would handle Penn State. But you're right. And don't count out Ohio State. Even though they got beat by Michigan, they're rivals, and everything is right now negative with Ryan Day and that program, and it should be negative with Ryan Day. Can't get it done. Can't beat Michigan. But don't be shocked if they make a run. Right now, the only unblemished team is Oregon. Early in the season, they could have lost a couple of games, could have lost that Boise State game. But right now, they're playing really well. I thought Texas was there as well, but then against Texas A&M, when they had chances to make it a blowout, an easy win, A&M had their chances. But Texas won the game. Got to give them credit. They won the game. But them being the favorite over Georgia, I don't buy that. I know Georgia had an 8-overtime game, but there were 6 of those overtimes are doing 2-point conversions. So not like they're playing full quarters or anything like that. Georgia's going to be ready. I'm surprised because they had beaten them once already that they're not the favorite, but Vegas does what Vegas does. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening tonight.
Mid-South Ag Equipment for all your equipment needs. Go see the folks at Mid-South Ag, located just south of Collierville on Goodman Road, where you'll see all kinds of equipment. Of course, they've got the Case IH Farm All Series tractors, bush hog equipment, plenty more from new equipment, pre-owned equipment. They've got it all for you. They also will service your equipment. If you need service done on any equipment, they certainly could take care of that as well. Easy to get to off of I-269. You go to the Goodman Road exit. They're just a half mile west. You can actually see them from I-269. That's right there. That's how close they are. The actual address is 3044 Highway 302. You can also find them online at midsouthag.com. Online, you can check out the inventory they have of new and pre-owned equipment. Plus, you can check out special deals they've got going on, special financing, all that type of stuff. You can find that on the website at midsouthag.com. For all those equipment needs, the place to go is Mid-South Ag Equipment.
If last week wasn't enough for you as far as great college basketball matchups, we got a bunch more tonight and tomorrow. We'll talk about that when we return. The ACC SEC Challenge, the Big 12 Big East Challenge, all coming up. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Family Leisure needs your help. Family Leisure has inventory they've got to move because you know what season is coming up. So why wait? You can complete your ultimate game room with a new pool table, a new shuffleboard, new arcade games, or just get all of them. Tons and tons of theater seating, overstocked, and priced to move. 'Tis the season for fire pits, and all fire pits at Family Leisure are 20 to 30% off. You say you didn't get a spa this year? Well, say no more. Spas are in stock, and they're ready for delivery, and up to $1,500 off. These are just a few of the deals happening right now for a very limited time. So come on, check out the gigantic showroom. You never know what kind of deal you're going to find at Family Leisure. When Road and I-40, where family and fun come together. There's no gift that's more beautiful, more personal, and more meaningful than the message you bring. Rest assured, this is Genesis is offering 5 years of zero interest financing on any holiday purchase with this special offer. Everything's offered. Just call me to find the price by 60 and match your payment. So come to Genesis Diamonds, buy rent, or tell Peter choose that perfect deal. This holiday season, spread your payments over 5 years. Get holiday store hours to purchase finance details at GenesisDiamonds.com. That's your Genesis
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 91271-5199.
The holidays are near, and Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators is here to make this season extra cozy and cheerful. For the first 50 customers who purchase a new Carrier system, tankless water heater, or a whole home generator, we have a special gift for you. Choose from a $500 gift card or 60 months no interest financing. And don't forget about Choate's Refer a Friend referral program, where you can earn up to $500. Simply refer a friend to use our services, and if they become a customer, you could earn up to a $500 Visa gift card. But hurry, this festive offer will only last through December 20th. Visit ChoatesHVAC.com or call 347-8086 to schedule your free estimate today. And turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family this holiday season.
This holiday season, give the gift of Gould's with a Gould's gift card for someone you love. Relaxation, perfectly gifted, is right for everyone. The gift of tranquility with a Gould's Spa gift card is perfect for anyone who deserves a moment to unwind, refresh, and rejuvenate. Because relaxation is the greatest gift of all. Happy holidays from Gould's. Gould's Spa, locally owned and operated since 1932.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Ford School. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So a busy couple of days in college basketball. You have the ACC SEC Challenge going on. And that includes tonight Syracuse, Tennessee, 6:30 on ESPN from Knoxville, where the Vols are 7-0 and come in this week at number 3 in the country. You also have Oklahoma. They are 7-0, ranked 21st. They will host Georgia Tech. You have Wake Forest 7-2 at number 22, Texas A&M 6-2. Ole Miss, and we'll have this game for you tonight, beginning at 7:30. Ole Miss 6-1. 23rd ranked at Louisville, 5-2. And also tonight in the SEC ACC Challenge, you have number 4 Kentucky, 7-0 at Clemson, 7-1. Clemson will be a future opponent later this month for the Memphis Tigers. I'll get to the Wednesday games in a second, but what stands out for you tonight as far as the Tuesday games?
Well, you've got other ones. You've got Florida State, LSU.
I was going to get to that.
You got Arkansas, Miami. You got Notre Dame, Georgia. You got Cal, Missouri, South Carolina, Boston College. Tonight's not as good because there's no ranked versus ranked games. But certainly from a Tiger fan perspective, seeing what Clemson's able to do against a very good Kentucky team, the Ole Miss Louisville game, I think that's should be a really good game. Louisville played really well down in, were they in Atlantis? I think they were in Atlantis where they went to the championship game down there. And so, and for a Tiger fan, you want all these teams that you're going to play to keep racking up wins to make them possibly better wins down the road if you can get them. It's going to be, Missouri. You want Missouri to win. You want Missouri to pick up as many wins as they possibly can now that you've already beaten them as well. So a lot of these SEC teams that the Tigers either have played or will play, you might as well keep them winning.
Yeah, the ones I rattled off all include a ranked team. But like you said, it's not a matchup of 2 ranked teams. And the ones that you said, if you wouldn't mind repeating those, these are games that feature 2 unranked teams.
You got Arkansas, Miami, Notre Dame, Georgia, Cal, Missouri, South Carolina, Boston College.
Yeah, Arkansas is the one that stands out, right? John Calipari's team already out of the top 25.
Florida State, LSU. But yeah, tomorrow night is the premier matchups in the SEC, ACC.
You got Bama, number 10, North Carolina, number 20, Chapel Hill, the 2 teams that Memphis played in exhibition games. Bama 6-2, Carolina 4-3. They have played rugged schedules, especially Alabama. You have Virginia. Again, they'll play Memphis later this month. They're 5-2. Florida is 8-0, a perfect 8-0. They're 13th ranked. You have Auburn, number 2, just beat Memphis and Maui. And number 9, Duke. I believe that's at Cameron. And then you have Pitt, number 18, at Mississippi State. Mississippi State just got hit with their first loss recently. They're 6-1. Pitt is 7-1. So those are some really good matchups. Fun basketball, SEC, ACC challenge.
Yeah, and then also tomorrow night in the unranked, you've got Texas and NC State. You got Vanderbilt playing Virginia Tech in that one. But obviously the Duke-Auburn game is the premier game, and Alabama and North Carolina not too bad for an appetizer, I guess, if you look at it that way, for tomorrow night in those games.
You also have the Big 12 Big East Challenge. It gets underway tonight. Games include 14th-ranked Cincinnati at Villanova. Villanova struggling at 4-4. You have, I don't know if there's any non-ranked games in the Big East Challenge. You may have that in front of you. I don't have that here. I'm looking at the ranked games. And then tomorrow in the Big 12 Big East battle, you got Baylor at number 15, UConn hosting at 5-3, losing 3 games in Maui. They're number 25, still in the poll, but just barely. You have Marquette number 5 and Iowa State number 6 in the Big 12 Big East battle. That should be a dandy. You got number 1 Kansas taking on unranked Creighton. Creighton falling from the ranks of from the rankings, I should say. And again, there might be a couple of other ones as far as there's only 10 teams in the Big East, so you can only have 10. But there's a few really good ones, as I mentioned, especially that Marquette Iowa State game.
Yeah, it would be nice, honestly, if tomorrow night has all these great matchups. It would be nice if 1 or 2 of those were tonight and they were spread. I think the Marquette Iowa State game is only on ESPN Plus tomorrow night.
Really?
It's 5 versus 6. I think it's only on ESPN Plus because some of these other matchups that are on the regular ESPN and ESPN2 tomorrow night. So, tomorrow night's going to be a great night. Should be a great night of college basketball.
And, of course, we'll have Memphis and Louisiana Tech tomorrow night. Louisiana Tech is 7-1. Memphis is 6-1. And that game will be on ESPN Plus.
Make this a magical Christmas with the help from Genesis Diamonds. Over at Genesis Diamonds right now for this holiday season, 5 years, 0 interest financing across the board. That's right. Whatever spectacular gift you want to pick out, 5 years, 0 interest financing. Everything is affordable right now at Genesis Diamonds. All the top designers, unbelievable selection, whatever it is that you're looking for. Great staff to help you find it. Great pricing to begin with, and now available with 5 years, 0 interest financing. Get all the details at GenesisDiamonds.com. Go by, see it for yourself. Check out all that beautiful jewelry at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar at Perkins Extended.
So last night we lost power. Did you lose power by any chance?
I did not.
A lot of people.
Well, I don't know. I wasn't home most of the night. But.
Well, a lot of people lost power. And so I'm reading this from MLGW. They said one issue last night was a failed circuit breaker, which was 57 years old. That's older than you, my friend, emphasizing the importance of replacing outdated infrastructure. Why would you even, you're MLGW, why you even tweet that out? You should know. You should do it. The suspected culprit was a wind gust causing lines to trip. We haven't discovered any physical damage yet, but we'll continue investigating. So again, a circuit breaker that was 57 years old knocked the power out. At least the power came back in about 40 minutes. Wasn't too bad last night. But you don't want to be losing power when it's 25 degrees for overnight lows. It's going to be very cold today once again. But that's the case in December. Usually happens that way. At least the sun will be shining. That's going to do it for us today. I want to thank our guests, Connor O'Gara, Nolan Smith, and Cedric Miller for joining us. Tomorrow, we're back bright and early, starting at 7 a.m. We'll talk with Melrose football coach, head coach, Jarrett Morrow, Jerry Palm from CBS Sports, DeMichael Cole from the Commercial Appeal on the Grizzlies, and Parthu Pajai from the Daily Memphian on Memphis Tigers basketball. Waldo and Friends on Sports 56 is just ahead. For Eli Savoy and for Elijah Seegers, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everyone.
Someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce,